afternoon, everyone. I hope you're well. You'll have to forgive me today. I am struggling with my microphones. They are losing all my settings. I hope you don't get too much noise in the background. I had it all muted out. Started my computer up today. Everything was lost. So here we are. We're on the ground at San Juan in Puerto Rico, where we arrived last week, and we're looking to fly out across the Caribbean to Venezuela. Originally, when Amelia took off, she was headed for a place called Carapito. They had hoped to go to Paramaribo, which was over 1,000 nautical miles, but there was quite a strong headwind, so they didn't think they would get there in their one hop. So today we're going to aim for Macharan, which is the closest location I could find to Carapito, because the runway in the jungle that they landed on is no longer there. So we will be doing that today. I don't think we've got many people online at the moment, but overnight in Puerto Rico, Amelia and Fred stayed at a plantation of a fellow air pilot, and overnight they put the Electra in her hangar, and before they did so, they got the bill, which was for $14.50. So that's it was paid in full on the day, and there's a bit of the wing inside the hangar. If $14.50 seems quite high. There's Amelia and Fred talking to some people wanting to get their autographs. Hey, Sim Aviation Erling, lovely to see you. Hope you're having a great day, and congratulations yesterday for winning the Spitfire on Tute Murphy's Friday night stream. Congratulations, well done. I hope you enjoy it. So once they'd hangared the aircraft, they went off for dinner. Fred fell asleep on the porch, ruining the view, according to the lady whose house they stayed at, which is about 20 miles outside of town. Hey, here's Johnny. Good afternoon. I hope you can you all hear me okay, guys? Because I've had a nightmare with all my sounds. I literally turned my computer on today and I'd lost all my mixing, all my microphone settings, all my Stream Deck settings. So I've had to cobble it together, and I think it might be a bit over loud and overbearing. So please let me know. You may hear my computer fans, you may hear me banging my mouse around. The sound may be a bit funny. Is it too high? I mean, this microphone. Oh, right, okay. Give me a moment then. So we're going to have to play with this. Just give me a moment, guys. So I need to do that, and that. Is that a bit better? Is that better? Hey, Stairway to Bacon, how you doing? I had it all perfect yesterday, and it crapped out on me. I just don't want to get it too loud, because I can hear it really loud. So how's that? Better? I mean, what if I can turn? Johnny, it is a nicely pressed t-shirt, so we'll give it a quick show off. It's the wonderful John E design. It's a t-shirt of the memorial flight, with the Mooney, the Howland Light, which we'll see, and obviously signed with my gamer tag name, which is on the back of the sign when we get to Howland Island. I know it's because I'm in a very narrow room. If I put it too much closer, it's Still not right. Like I say, I took all of the sound out and got all the echo removed, but I lost all my settings. Oh, and you can also have a tasty beverage with a with a here's John E. design mug, which is fabulous, which you can now get on the merch store, which is awesome. So, bit of a shameless plug, as Murphy would say. Okay, now I imagine that it's going to sound terrible. What about now? Diedrich, RSA, hello, good afternoon. You finally caught one. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Can you all hear me now still? Because I've turned it off in my ears so I don't get drowned by me yakking away. Johnny Sim Aviation, is that okay? Can you hear me? I'm assuming so. Adventure 494, lovely to see you too. I'll hop on to Captain Arish's Discord later on and give you the links to download all those, the G530 mod and the 430 mod. They fix things like it crashing when you do a direct to, and it stops that horrible U-turn bug where you've got like one waypoint left and you put a direct to in or change an approach and it sends you back 500 miles. So it should help you quite a lot there. So I was just talking to myself earlier on and saying that we were here at San Juan Airport in Puerto Rico. We're flying today to Maturan in Venezuela. Mostly we're going over the sea, so there's not going to be such pretty sights as we had last week, but that's what they did. I showed earlier that the night when they landed, they got a bill for the hangarage of the aircraft, which was a whole $14.50, which was paid in full by Amelia Earhart on the day. And there's the aircraft sat in the hangar, which, as I said, didn't look like it was worth $14.50, but beggars can't be choosers, right? And that's Amelia and Fred taking some autographs. And during the evening, when they stayed at a plantation about 20 miles outside of San Juan with a friend of Amelia's, she went for a little bit walk while Fred slept and ruined the view, apparently. And she took a little picture back at San Juan back in 1937 as a memento of her trip, which she mailed back during her flight. And then she got up early in the next morning, but later than they'd hoped. She was hoping to have been airborne by 6 o'clock, but actually didn't leave until just gone after 7. And then, of course, they boarded the aircraft with their rucksacks. Amelia sort of... Thank you, Sim Aviation. So on the day, Fred would climb in first because he had to go and crawl over the fuel tanks that were between him and the cockpit and the navigator section where he sat with all his sextants and everything, because he did celestial navigation and grand circle navigation to get them from A to B. And all the other windows were boarded up apart from his. So there they are, getting in on the aircraft on the day. I don't have one of them taking off on the day, but I've got some pictures when we get to Venezuela. So we're heading to Venezuela. They were originally going to aim for Paramaribo in Dutch Guyana, but there was quite a strong headwind on the day, so they didn't actually aim to go there. So they picked a place called Carapito, which was a small jungle landing in Venezuela, which is sadly no longer available in game or anywhere. So I couldn't even put it down if I wanted to. So we're gonna land at the nearest aircraft in the next town over, which is Maturan. And Maturan was where they also took the 80th anniversary flight around the world and landed as well. So we'll hop over there and land in about 3 hours. It shouldn't take too long this week, not like the length it was last week. So let's get the aircraft fired up and make sure everything's okay. So we're fully loaded with fuel, as always. We're going to be travelling around 8,000 feet. We're going to aim for about 2,200 RPM. We're going to aim for about 20 inches of manifold pressure, and hopefully then keep everything else in the green. So we are going to get up and straight away today. So let's get that beacon light on, and then we'll get battery on, get the boost pump on. I think we need to put that on a button. Alternator mixture to full. Propeller rich, crank, half an inch on the throttle, and then we'll clear prop. How's the sound there? This is what I would worry about now, is the sound in the game. Drowning everything out. The photo's still there. There we go. Photo is now off. So I'm using my new Stream Deck, which I got this weekend. It's really good, but I keep butchering it. So avionics can come on, taxi lights can come on, nav lights can come on now. Just wait for everything to come up to the green. Just, that boost pump annoys me. I'm going to turn it on. Let's set the transponder. We'll leave it on at the moment. Great, cool. What about now? Can you still hear me above the noise? It's very hard to try and judge this. Great, okay. Right, it'll probably get completely drowned when we get off the ground. So set the transponder to that. We're going to go to, we're going to go to 8,000 feet today. So let's line that up, and we're going to depart from runway 28. So I'm going to completely lash up my directions. I did read some maps earlier on, but let's see how we go. Yeah, the outside might be, so what I can do with that, I think, is I can bring the game sound down. Let me go outside again. So I can bring the outside sound down a bit. How's that? You still hear the aircraft and stuff, right? Aircraft. Shh, please shout if it's not too bad, or if it's rubbish. Okay, so we'll mosey on down to runway 28. So I'm probably going to go taxiway D, B, C, H2, then cross. Should be able to cross over here. And then run all the way down. Let's remember it's not a race course, Alison. So apologies if any sound dies out on me. I've had a bit of a rough ride this week with all my sound settings. How's your Saturday going, guys? You having a good time? Got up really early this morning. Was wide awake about 5 o'clock. Hopped up to watch some streams. Went over to watch Captain Arash earlier, which is really cool. He's a Canadian streamer and simmer who's flying all around the world in a Cessna 172, and I've been watching him for a few months now. And it's really quite fun watching the guys all. They were landing in volcanoes earlier, which was fabulous. So I don't know if you've ever seen Captain. Whoops. I don't know if you've ever seen Captain Arash, but his streams are quite fun, and it's got some nice guys, and he's over on Twitch, streams regularly during the week. He's based in Canada, so streams very early morning while we're at work, so it's something I often listen into while I'm working. As we quite like our epic journeys over on the two-tone Murphy Fireflies, people doing crazy things like go around the world in Cessnas and Moonies, and we've got Darren now doing everything in the de Havilland Comet. And then on Saturday, next weekend, I won't be streaming on Saturday, I'm going to be streaming on the Sunday. Because on Saturday evening, the Flying Fabio and Two Tone Murphy are both going to be doing a joint stream together. That's going to be very interesting, all in Spitfires with formation flying, both the Two Tone Murphy community and the Flying Fabio community all flying along. It's going to be masses of aircraft in the sky. It's going to be incredible. So see if you can get along and join in. Everyone's welcome to join in at any time. Oops. Slow down. So the runway I want will be on the left. Ah, Stairway to Bacon, you're with us. I shall hold up when I get to hold short. I think I see another aircraft. It might be USAP PR1. Fantastic. I get some company. I love having company, especially when I CTD and have to load in on people. Okay, so we're heading for H7 and then turn right onto runway 28. Coming up on H7. Yeah, North Europe server. Multiplayer is turned on, Sim Aviation. So I've got Stairway to Bacon behind me. So if you do the ! server command, it will tell you which one we're on. So I'm going to do a little bit naughty. Because I was yakking on a little bit longer than I wanted to. I'm just going to change this. Oh, that's okay. 706 is fine. We'll keep it as is. Okay, one notch of flats can come in. Landing lights can go on. Tax lights can come off. Strobe lights can go on. So we've got USAPR1. Lovely to see you. Stairway to Bacon. They both came with me last week. Stairway to Bacon managed the entire 990 miles from Miami to Puerto Rico. So just check we're okay to go in. Yeah, all good. So let's. Good morning, Draco. How are you doing? No worries, Sim Aviation. You know where we'll be. We'll be somewhere between here and Venezuela. Okay, so let's hope I don't lash this up like I did in the Spitfire yesterday. Oh my god. Well, Stairway to Bacon, if you're joining on the flight across the Atlantic at some point, that's 13 hours. It's gonna kill me. Right, S-speed's alive. Try not wobble too much. Come on, be gentle. Must change my sensitivity settings on the rudder. It's 80. Okay, gently pulling back, rotating. Positive rate of climb. Feet on the toe brakes to stop the wheel spinning. Gear can come up. Okay, let's bring it down to a more reasonable 1,000 feet per minute. Head towards the end of the runway. Hey Murphy! Hope you're having a good day at work. Did you finish early today? Goblin Suits, welcome. Welcome along, and you're doing some physics work. Oh, crikey. No problem, Draco. I tell you what, I was absolutely rubbish in that Spitfire. I am going to need to do some practice, I tell you. Okay, so just watch the guys coming up behind. So we've got Draco, Stairway to Bacon, US APR1. As passing the outer marker, we'll do a left turn. And we'll fly down past the airport, and then we'll head off on out over the sea. Oh, it's so sensitive to nose it. I ended up on the roof twice. The wheels are so narrow and skittish. So, say goodbye to San Juan and San Juan Airport. No problem, Sim Aviation. We'll see you when we see you. Okay, so let's start not to firewall it all the way. We've got a little bit of a hill to get over, but not too much. Okay, let's trim her up so we can climb nicely before we get onto the magenta and do nav and stuff. We'll let Sperry do a lot of the flying today as we get away. Thank you, Murph. The tasty beverage mug actually looks really nice. However, I have a special because I made a boo-boo on the first order. So I shall sign it, and perhaps I'll give it away as a limited edition, one with a mistake on it. All the other mugs are fine, by the way. I corrected it before before they shipped it, but not before they'd shipped mine, sadly. So yeah, the t-shirt, I've got a hoodie and everything, and just and the fabulous John E design again, so which he kindly did at very short notice and very quickly. So hats off to a tasty beverage holding device. Absolutely, Sim Aviation, right? And there goes Draco in the spit. Okay, so I'm just gonna, let's get Sperry involved now. So climbing quite nicely. We'll just put it onto a nav for the moment. Let's get Sperry involved in this. Not too far off of the line. Let's get her going in at 1,000 feet per minute. We're fine. It's definitely a thing. Everybody needs a tasty beverage holding device, and especially if it's a commemorative Amelia Earhart flight one. Shameless plug. Okay, let's make sure we're not flooring it too high. Let's get the manifold down a bit. And as we're away, I can get rid of me, and we can get some music underway, and take some views. Let me know if the music's too loud, guys. Please watch your ears. Looks like we've got some more people with us today. Fast Flieger and Stairway to Bacon, APR1. There's Draco running rings around me. Got a couple of little waypoints on the way today. A couple of historical points. One was an island they used to as a bearing point. Especially as we're going through Venezuela, we'll go past the Isle de Alves, which has got a very varied history. Yeah, like fuel consumption, Draco. Yeah. So leveling out as we close in on the 8,000 feet. So let's bring the RPM back. Bring it down to about 220. Try and get the manifold at 20. You're gonna be a pain, aren't you? Okay. Well, what date have I got? Shouldn't be that. It's better. Okay, so about 1 hour 15 then till we get to the first location. And then we turn southbound towards Carapito, which was the first place they were going to land. So if you're still watching Murph, I was sharing some hangar fees earlier. They paid $14.50 for overnight hangarage in Puerto Rico. The hangar had a load of people waiting to take autographs, and Amelia took a walk in the evening, took some photos of that's the only one that they have saved. This was them boarding the aircraft in the morning of the 2nd of June 1937. Fred gets in first because he has to climb back over the fuel tanks. Okay, so fuel consumption is really quite nice at 12 gallons per hour. Time to change tanks at 45, switching to right. It's taking some views. So all my clicking, noises, keyboards, I had them completely muted yesterday. Couldn't hear them. I can't get it right for Toppy. Yes, there were the bacon. There's a really good manual included with the aircraft. Shortly leaving the coast of Puerto Rico. Never been here before. Amelia Earhart hadn't been here before either. This was her first visit to Puerto Rico on this journey. Closest to South America she got was really a flight, the longest female flight in Mexico. Oh, crikey. Here we go, guys. Oh, the clouds look great today. High level marshmallow clouds again. Bit of an odd masking there going on. That's how we're doing. Right, so let's make sure that EGT is around 1400. Okay, so we've got loads of fuel on board. Way enough, way more than enough. So yeah, they were wanted to go to Paramaribo first. Quite a headwind today, so they didn't when they flew, so they didn't want to risk it. And they landed in the middle of a jungle, a Carapito. So they lit a bonfire to show where the runway was, and held torches for them coming in. So it's a shame they can't reproduce that sort of thing in game these days. That'd be quite fun, landing on a fuel-lined airstrip. Sadly, it's no longer there now. So we'll be doing a straight-in approach to runway 06 at Machran. Pretty much it's the only decent approach you can make to that airport now. And it's what the Mooney did on the 80th anniversary flight to of Amelia's round the world trip. So we should do that too. Made some adjustments to the route because I put a waypoint rather than an airport on my next leg. So next week it'll be a short hop down to Paramaribo, and then the week after it's quite a long journey down to Natal before we head over to cross the Atlantic. I'm quite looking forward to it, but not looking forward to it because it's going to be dark, it's going to be wet, windy and horrible all the way until we get to Dakar in Senegal. Once the Spitfire's in the air, stairway to Bacon, it's a cracking aircraft to fly. I mean, it just wants to fly, and it's I call it it's almost like lazy. You're gentle with it, but it turns and climbs and descends really quickly. Very nice. I just need to practice off stream so people don't laugh at me going head over heels in it. And I try to keep the boost down as well, and still way over. Oh, terrible. But then it's got tiny little thin wheels. So of course we're flying down through the Caribbean. We've got several Caribbean island nations on our left, so that we don't get too close to them. Oh, yeah, in the air it's lovely. Super aircraft. Okay guys, now we have to start worrying about sharks again. So I hope you've all got your floaties and your whistle and your sandwiches, because you use sandwiches to detract the sharks, eh? So who do we have? We have RL10987, Dreadlock Heaven, Blast Flieger, Stairway to Baker, USA PR1, and Draco Call. Lovely of you to join, guys. Thank you. So, what are we doing? We're doing around about 150 indicated, 174 ground. Some pop to the left arm, yeah. So, oil pressure's okay, oil temperature's okay today. It was horrible last week. I wonder if we'll get dancing wind socks when we get down to Venezuela. That was really crazy last week. The sim didn't know where the wind was. It was just literally spinning, so it actually made landing really difficult. So anyone end up to anything exciting this weekend, this evening, tomorrow? What are you up to? $1 gallon to change tanks. Having bought a whole load of audio gear, Amazon have said, "Hey, we think you need a new hi-fi." Really? No, I don't. So, Amelia had hoped to fly in one day to Paramaribo in Dutch Guyana, but she didn't. So they spent the night in Carapiso, which we won't. We'll spend it in Maturin. The courses that they flew in 19th. I'm afraid you hear an echo. Sorry, Draco. I had it all sorted yesterday, and then when I turned my computer on today, all of my settings, all of my compressions, all of my noise adjustments had all vanished. Not only that, when I've tried to set them up, I can't quite get it set up exactly as it was. So let me try and see. Yes, it's my room. Well, I don't know if I've got no speakers. I'm wearing a headset, so it shouldn't be picking that up. But I'm in a tiny little alcove. No, just the one. Everything else is all disabled. Is it my voice that's this? Let me go and double check. Let's go to sound properties. So you literally couldn't hear anything yesterday. No clicking of keyboards, nothing. And then today, I can't get it right. It was like perfect. And Wavelength lost everything. So I bought a Wavelength 3. I bought a Stream Deck. I set it all up in Streamlabs, and it didn't have an echo. And I put in all the compression. I've got filters. Let me try this one. Is that better? I don't know if that'll be any better. But I had it set that the decibel of the keyboard and my mouse clicks weren't, you couldn't hear them. But today, I can't get it right for, as I say, Toffee. So it's driving me mad. Let's go settings, sound. Yeah, it does, but I spent 2 days on it. Then lost everything. So let's go, what have I got here? So, let's just make sure everything's turned off. So, how about that? Anything better? Is that better? Or still echoey? Because that literally is everything disabled apart from my mic. What I might need to get is some sound blocks on the wall. As I say, I'm in a cup. I'm like Harry Potter. I'm in a cubby hole in my loft extension. So as you can see, that's one wall, and the other wall's there. So it's probably is. Oh, I have a feedback loop somewhere in the chain. Okay. I wonder what. I mean, literally everything is disabled. Even that's disabled and turned off. Not that I'm aware of. I wonder. The only other culprit could be how about that? No? Yeah? Yeah. But I had a different microphone. I had this headset microphone, and I bought a proper streaming microphone. And like I said yesterday, no echo. And I can't hear one in the mixer. So I've got the stream, which is just the stream. Hang on. Tell me if you can hear me after I do something. How about now? Can you hear me now? How's that? Right, okay, I know what it is now. Okay, cool. As long as you can hear me. Let me know if you get any problems and you can't hear me properly, please, because I've pressed the button. I've done a Murph special. So it's probably going to crap out on me anytime soon, right? Yay, it's working. At least we know what it is now. Pressing buttons work this time, yeah. tell you what, if you stream, guys, or even don't stream and do video editing and or things like that, these stream decks are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Been having a really good old play with them. Stream audio is low. Okay. The total stream audio is low, is it? Turn up master. Yeah, I could probably. I turn up that and this is the problem. So, computer system is full. Let's go to wavelength. So, is it my voice that's slow, or is it the game and music and everything? The master shouldn't have any impact. It's all right. No, it's really helpful. Thank you. No, because it's. The trouble is that all of the sounds, the system, the music, browser, and game, they're all on different inputs. Hey, Kazaki Flyer, lovely to see you. Yeah, the flight's fine. I need to change tanks because I've been fiddling. It's great so far. We're out over the sea now, heading down towards Venezuela over the Caribbean. But I'm fighting with my sounds. So what else can be louder? So that's fine. It's annoying. I say it was lovely and balanced yesterday. Let's go to system. So that's 100%. Everything's 100% in system. Okay, I'm going to do something really crazy in a minute, so watch your ears. Speaking, so I was just can you hear me now? Is that music too loud? I wasn't speaking, I was just literally playing with volumes. Alright, so music's too loud. You can hear the aircraft. Well, I've got tons of settings, so and aircraft is loud now, yeah. It's quite hard to get this right at the moment. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. I promise it will be better next week. I'm trying to. I'm trying to do it without doing too much gain. Going horribly tinny. How's that? Is that better? Or too loud now? Or not loud enough? It's going into the yellow, so... Okay. Thanks guys, I appreciate the help, because it's been a nightmare. Which I hadn't expected it to be, such a nightmare. Okay, so 45 minutes 58 till we get to our first point of interest, which is Isla de Elvez. which is, I believe, is Spanish for Island of Birds or Birds Island. Thank you. Draco, you're I'm touching, is bamboo or wood? I'm touching wood because I haven't either. I turned off the Azure sounds as well. That's been quite good so far. So there's been lots of fighting over this island we're going to fly over. It's a tiny little place. Originally, everyone's had a go at it. The French, so British had it first, then the French, then the Dutch, and ultimately, in time, the Venezuelans own it. Technically, it's like sand and rock. So it should, whoever owns it should only have a 12-mile exclusion zone. But Venezuela have declared that it's an island, and islands have a 200-meter exclusion zone. So we'll skirt just along it in this route. It's a wildlife reserve now, but everyone wanted it back in the day because it was, would you believe, rich in bird guano, which everyone wanted to dig up and sell because it was great in fertilizers. So, and it's got a scientific and military station on it that's on stilts. Because in hurricane season, this island basically can often disappear, and very little of it shows. So I don't know how much will be on the satellite imagery when we go over it, but I don't expect it to be great. There we go. Got the guys in the back there. USAPR, Draco, Stairway to Basement. Nothing but blue everywhere, huh? Oh, there's the moon. Can't see any islands in the distance. Well, there's one ahead of us. That won't be Isla de Alba. So Sperry did a lot of the flying on this journey as Amelia was writing notes and doing calculations for the next leg. It's a tiny little island. That's believe it or not, there is an island. Sand and rock just out there. The closest airfield now. Ooh, that's a good question. For a moment, I'll find out for you. I guess as we're going, the closest one would be Tango, Kilo, Papa, November, but that's 400. That's how far away is that from us? I guess, actually, there's one just behind us, which is Henry Robertson. What are you? Airport info. Show information. Is that a J? Tango, India, Sierra, X-ray. Yeah. I think that's the closest. There's a little bit behind us, not too far away. Thank you, Adventure 494. I use music from Epidemic Sounds, and it's all licensed and good to use. No DMCA takedowns and things like that. I tried to pick adventure songs and epic songs and music there's some big band sounds, there's jazz sounds, there's some Latin type stuff as we go, and I will try and change it as we get country to country. But I thought it would be, it's honorific of Amelia and her flight to have music that was ambient with flight and heroism and pioneering. At the moment for this, I stream this once a week at the moment, just because I work, and my work is really busy, and then I fly often. I fly with Two-Tone Murphy's communities on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, and then I fly with Colonel Fawkes on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sunday evenings. I fly pretty much every day when I can. It's my I learnt to fly in a Cessna 152 and a 172 here in the UK, up in Newcastle upon Tyne, but I know I only did it recreationally, so I got ill a few years back, which meant that I couldn't pass my couldn't pass my medical at the moment due to the medication I'm on. So hopefully one day I'll get back. Oh no, so I did fly in real life, absolutely. Flew general aviation aircraft, but recreationally. But we group fly Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Two-Tone Murphy, and we group fly with Colonel Falk on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. So I found a great community of people that we all together. Two-Tone Murphy's group, they've got a flight school. We run Join FS. We help people out all the time, and I think you might be quite interested in this, as you're a fan of the MB339, if I remember. They formed their own aerial display team called the Thunderflies, and they're all training together to do an online air show, which if you're interested in flying out about it. No, we do GA all the time. Occasionally we'll jump in we don't do the airliners, but we jumped into some jet fighters and did the Mach Loop as a group, and there's a video up on YouTube of that, and that was fantastic. I mean, I'm not a great jet flyer, and the MB339 is really good. It's very it's really accommodating for someone who's not very good like me. But as I say, if you're into that, Two-Tone Murphy's Discord is full of helpful people, and I say they've got Thunderflies, the aerobatic display team, and they're doing really good. I mean, they're all communicating on voice and everything's fantastic. But we fly GA pretty much 5 days a week. If I could do more of this journey more regularly, I would. But sadly, work is really busy for me, and some of these legs that I'll be doing are like 13, 14 hours long. So I'll be starting like really stupid o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and flying through it pretty much non-stop. And I say, if you want to see what the flights are like, because they're up on Twitch and everything, so Two-Tone Murphy's channel. I found Murphy streaming when Flight Sim came out in August, and it's so laid back, and the community are absolutely fantastic, and I'm a proud member of that community, and I'm a moderator on his channel, and I help look after the Discord, and I prepare all the flight plans for the group. So I love being involved with it, especially with the circumstances we all find ourselves in today. It's given me such an escape to be able to explore and do things when I can't actually go out and do things. So it's saved me, I think, from a lot of mental hardship. I don't like sitting still, although when I'm doing these flights, I'm sat still a lot. But you know what I mean? I hate being caged up. So, and I'm very, 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 very pleased to have found that community, and I love it, and everyone's so nice. and it's a good crack. Yeah, you will. You know, so and I think the flight sim community generally is really nice. You know, I sit and watch Arash all the time, and he's so laid back. It's nice. I watch Flying Fabio because he's really educational. I've started watching CDL, but he's on late at night, but I do pop in if I wake up early. What else do I watch? I used to watch a lot of Squirrel, but he does a lot of non-flight sim stuff at the moment. So it's you've already done an air refuel, I bet, because you've got what, 2-hour range? Isn't the Spitfire's got a 2 hours, and especially if you've got it on boost and super boost or whatever it's called. I like this track. You're not in the cropped wing one then? Hey Kazaki Fly, you caught us up. Pretty much, Draco. Okay, 1 gallon till change tanks. I mean, it was great fun flying from Booker, South End over Dover along the cliffs, over the white cliffs of Dover. They weren't white when I first flew over them. Very green until I sort of passed them 2 or 3 times. And then I scud run all the way along the south coast from Dover, past Brighton, Portsmouth. And the landing that I made, I landed on the middle of the runway. I didn't stop in the middle of the runway. I went off to the left somewhere into the grass. Yeah, the Spitfire is incredibly difficult to trim. I'm going to try, when I take off later, I'm going to try it properly. I'm going to do full starboard bias on the rudder and just, you know, one line of nose up on the elevator trim for takeoff, and then try and keep it around about. It's very hard to get it at the 8, not go above it. If you go above 8, you've just lost it. Oh, crikey. Is that for the vaccinations? There are none within 2 hours. Crikey. I think we've got 3 within 10 miles here. The nearest one's just Oh, nice. Well done. I'm glad you're done. I've had my first one. Because I was in the high-risk group, so... Don't know when I'll get my second one. I'll get a call when they're ready. It made me... Oh, God, I was rough. I had the AstraZeneca one. I wish they'd vaccinate teachers in the UK, because they're going to get kids going back to school next week. Now, whilst kids are low risk, the teachers aren't. I think Amelia would be all over it, DJ. I often sit and think about... so, very much she was a pioneer, as we know, and Sperry was the autogyro, the autopilot that they used. So it was, been around since 1926, but hadn't been really used as much. She used it pretty much all the time. If she was around today, I think she would be... Yeah, I think she'd love it, don't you think? How far it's come from, celestial navigation using sextants, compasses, to, GPS, and, literally being able to find yourself within a dime of an airfield. The radio comms that they have today compared to what they had then. I mean, the Spitfire still had the Morse code tapper in. Her plane was not equipped with Morse code because she and Fred couldn't do it, which was a shame. I think that, AM Mariners. Yeah, well, she called her plane a ship. My ship is what she often referred to it as. So, and ground serval navigation that they were using was basically the same that that it's the shortest route between 2 points on a globe. So they were using all of that, and ships used it. So all pretty commonplace, right? While I'm nattering, think over. I'd like to think that she might have been an astronaut if she was around in our day. So Amelia Earhart disappeared between Papua New Guinea. She took off at Lae Airport in July 1937, headed for Howland Island, which is a really flat, very small atoll in the Pacific, and it's about 2,300 miles. So it's from where she took off. They had a US Coast Guard cutter around the island. There was another one as well, and they were using radio telephony, which was, if they hadn't used radio telephony, I think that they might have been able to get their messages through. It was a combination of lots of things. I think it's all shrouded in mystery what happened to her. I believe they miscalculated where they were. There was a headwind. They'd had to climb a lot to get over the winds. Climbing up to 10,000 feet in the Electra would have burnt more fuel than they had, and they were on small margins as it was, and I think they got off course. The Itasca, the US Coast Guard cutter that was waiting for them, they'd let the RDF receiver run out of battery power, so it couldn't pick her up initially. So she may have been calling and they couldn't get her. And then when she got closer and they could hear her, she was transmitting on a different frequency than they were sending on a frequency. They thought they'd agreed with her, but it never got through, and you could hear that they were talking and nothing was coming back, and she was getting they were on bingo fuel at one point. She said, "We must be right on you, but we're at 10,000 feet and we're running low on fuel," and that was the last thing that they said. So I imagine that they went down in the sea. There's lots of conspiracy theories about they were landed on a different island and were captured by the Japanese, and she was a spy and all that. I just reckon they hit the sea and went down. It's quite deep out here where they went in the Pacific. They keep looking. I mean, they had the largest sea search, a missing sea search in US history. No worries, Papa Joe B. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great weekend. Biggest search time in US maritime history at the time, and could find no hide nor trace of her or Fred. Interestingly, they'd got rid of their parachutes, and they'd also got rid of the life raft. before this leg to save weight, and they were going to land at Howland Island and refuel. So when we go to Howland Island, we will land. And Jefferson 2001, who's also a member of the Two-Toe Murphy flying community, who does a lot of scenery for us. He's done the fantastic Casement Aerodrome in Baldonnel in Ireland. He's working on Shannon Airport, and he kindly has done some scenery work on Howland Island to make it like it was when she would have landed there. But on the island today is a decrepit lighthouse. It's called the Earhart Light, and probably easier if I show it on my mug. But I don't know if you guys can see it. But on the island in 1939, when it was built, it was very nice and pristine, and now it's a lot more run down and decrepit, not quite ruined. But he's put it on that island as it was, and there's a sign on the beach to say that it's a nature reserve, which it is, and it's on the beach today. But on the back he's scrawled my gamer name in 2021. So we will land there, and we'll all park up next to the between the memorial and the sign, and you know, because she didn't get there. The flights that have done this since have never landed on that island. When it was recreated in an Electra, the pilot dropped a wreath over the island, and in the 80th anniversary flight, Jim Clark dropped 2 pink flowers as he flew over it as well. So, but we will land on there and refuel like she was meant to do, and then we'll carry on from there to Honolulu, and then Honolulu to San Francisco, where she was meant to arrive. So this flight was, she called it the longest way home anyone could devise. It's a shame, because she was such a pioneering pilot. I don't think she was the world's greatest pilot, and I think that, as you'll see on this journey, I've deliberately put things in that went wrong in the map. So this island we're flying over, that they used it as a bearing point because they saw it. But over the Atlantic, they missed their destination. They were north, quite a way. So we'll land at where they landed, and then have to go to where they should have landed. And her notes on that flight, right at the bottom, when we get to that flight, I'll show you. But she signed at the bottom, why were we north? And I think that Fred, whilst he was a very good pilot or a navigator in his time for Pan American, he did have a problem with alcohol, and I wonder whether he just wasn't as good as he used to be. A shame. So there is a movie. It's called Amelia. It was released not so long ago, actually. Stars Hilary Swank. It doesn't totally focus on her flying. A lot of it does, but there was some sensationalism in her private life. She married her publicist. I mean, the reason that Amelia Earhart is well known is she had a good publicist, and she got into the right places and the papers and books, and she got on the talking tours and things like that. But there were some very competent lady pilots around at the time that would fly the socks off her, but they didn't get the publicism she did. So it focuses on a relationship she had with Gear Vidal, whose son was Gore Vidal. And she did have an affair with him, but it didn't really need to be in the film. It took away from the flight aspects of it, but it's interesting. And the Electra 10 that they have in it is fantastic. It's rebuilt. It's exactly the same colours that she flew. So the Electra was silver, had red trailing edges on the wings, had a red plate on the back tail wing between the two rudders, and was fitted, pretty much fitted out as it was on the day. So, and And as Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston plays Fred Noonan, and Richard Gere plays George Putnam, who was her publicist and future husband. But basically, when she married him, she said, "We're going to live. I'm going to live the life I want to." Yeah, it was made in 2009, so it's not too long ago. It's okay. I liked it because I'm very much into Amelia Earhart and everything she did. So it includes her, her starting to fly. It includes her flights across the Atlantic. The first one where she was the first woman across the Atlantic as a passenger, and she didn't like that. She said she felt like a bag of potatoes. So she wanted to do it herself, and George basically funded it. And she flew that route and missed. She was meant to hit Ireland, and ended up in Wales. So like I say, I don't think she was the greatest navigator in the world. But then in those early days, they didn't have the tools that we all have today, right? So, even if we take the GPS out of the, VORs are all going away in several years. It's not going to be there anymore. GPS will be everything. But they didn't even have VOR to VOR. They used ranged radio directional finders to try and find where they're going. Even radar wasn't really a thing. That came into being really in the Second World War from Alan Turing. God, I'm an Amelia Earhart geek. I love Amelia Earhart. I think it would just been really exciting to have been her. Nothing seemed to frighten her either. She just seemed to be just like, yeah, absolutely. She did loads of things. So, first woman across the Atlantic, first woman, I think, fly solo across the length of Mexico. She flew Grand Circle, East Coast to West Coast, West Coast to East Coast, US. She was the first woman to fly across the continental America in a Pitcairn gyrocopter, and she was the first lady. She held the altitude achievement record in a Pitcairn auto gyro when she took it up to 18,500 feet in the early 1930s. Which, considering 18,500 feet is in an auto gyro, is quite something. I think I've actually got a picture of an auto gyro. It's like. But that's Amelia with her auto gyro. It's like, open cockpit, aviator gear, and she took that across the entire US. And the Pitcairn itself was, a very rudimentary auto gyro, but she flew it everywhere. And of course, she was very famous for flying the Lockheed Vega B, which is coming out by Wings 42 this year. Hey Draco, take care and I'll see you later. Have a great rest of your day. The Vega B is what she flew across the Atlantic for the first time and became the first woman to cross the Atlantic, and earned her the nickname Lady Lindy because she was following in the footsteps of Charles Lindbergh. Okay, 1 gallon to go, and then it's change tank. We're 16 minutes away from Isla de Aves. So she wrote on the 2nd of June 1937, I rolled out of bed at 4:15 in the morning, hoping to make a dawn takeoff from San Juan, but the Electra didn't take her wheels off until just after 7 o'clock. The sun well above the horizon. We flew at 8,000 feet most of the way. And that was the first part of what she wrote. And then coast of Venezuela in a hazy distance was my first glimpse of South America. As we drew near, we saw densely wooded mountains, between them wide valleys and open plains and jungle. I've never seen a jungle before. Close-knit tropical jungles are in a pilot's eyes the most least desirable of possible landing places. A muddy river ran through the mountain passes as we followed a reddish-brown snake, crawling among tight-packed greenery. Few inland lay the red-roofed town of Carapito with squat oil tanks on the outskirts. There was a splendid airfield with paved runway and well-equipped hangar, managed jointly by Pan American Airways and the Standard Oil Company. I don't think it'll be as densely wooded when we fly over it. I'm sure we'll see that human existence over the years has taken its toll. So let's just make sure we're at 1400 still, 220 RPM, it's nearest damn it. Just to keep it in the numbers. 1 gallon to change tanks. Everything else is in the green. We're still doing around 150 indicated, 174 ground. We're on a track of 154 degrees. Oh no, Papacho. Papacho, if you're having CTDs, try turning off the Azure sound in sound. I know it'll turn your ATC voices off, but turn it off because people have reported that they've had less CTDs with that turned off. I don't know if it's a coincidence or anything, but Colonel Falk, Draco and a few others, I'm trying it. It's been okay, but I've had quite a few CTDs on this journey, as you know, so give it a try. That is a shame. Darn CTDs. You're welcome. Still, Zaki's with us, Stairway to Bacon. How were you after last week's flight? Stairway to Bacon, were you tired? Because I was quite tired. Okay, 40 gallons on each tank, let's switch. I've missed my dinner. I had to warm it up. Yeah, it's good. It's very good. It was nice seeing Cuba and Haiti, Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Never been there in the sim before, so that was quite nice. Okay, so we're doing good. Everything's in the green. And it's all nice and stable. Seamus, lovely to see you. How are you doing? Dangerous Brian, welcome. Good afternoon, Brian. How are you doing? Yeah, absolutely. It'd be good to do a tour of Cuba and Puerto Rico. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was much different landscape than I thought it was going to be. I don't quite know what I expected, but it was much more diverse than I thought. How's your Saturday going, Seamus? You okay? Apologies for the rubbish sound. I lost all my settings overnight. Turned my computer on, it all disappeared after days of setting it all up. So you'll hear me clunking around with mouses and everything. I could literally drop it on the desk and you wouldn't hear a sound. Now you can hear me moving the bloody thing. And it was, thank you, Brian. It's getting there. I mean, I've got to do some work this week to try and sort it out, but it's a long old flight, guys, so remember to have some tasty beverage. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms. Let Sperry do the flying for a bit. I mentioned a sandwich and hot chocolate because that's what Amelia used to take with her. Although she didn't eat anything on the last leg. When they got to San Juan, they had a decent meal, and then Fred fell asleep. So Jim, I know you haven't here. People have seen this before, but I'll share while I'm here. So I found the hangar fees for hangarage of the Electra overnight and refueling. So this is just a hangar engine labour. They're just you know, checking the oil and fuel and everything. So $14.50, and it was in a little hangar, which was quite, you know, this place is in the middle of the jungle. And then this is a picture of them boarding the aircraft on the 2nd of June 1937 as they head off towards Carapito in Venezuela, where we are. We're not heading for Carapito today. We are heading to Maturin because Carapito Airport no longer exists. So, and oh, fantastic. I think that computer equipment is going to have a real. It's going to take time to get stock in anyway because of the you know, the semiconductor problem. Yeah, $2.20 an hour. I'll post them all up on the Two-Tone Mercury channel. There's an epic and historical flight section. I'll post imagery up there later. So I've got newspaper articles for a couple of the next journeys as well. So they're always interesting to throw up and see where we're at. So we're approaching Isla de Alves, which is up our nose somewhere, but 22 miles away. How long have I got to go in total? It's about 3 hours in total. We've been going just over an hour. So I've got a little while to go yet, Brian. The next leg is 339 miles. Well, it's 114 nautical miles to Isla de Alves, and then it's 339 nautical to Carapito, and then from Carapito it's about 24 nautical to Maturin in Venezuela. So I reckon a couple of hours or so, yeah. Okay, fingers crossed and see you soon. I guess I'm trying to find the nearest airport to us at the moment. There's one at the Dominica. Depends how quickly it takes to fire up, but the nearest one to Puerto de Alves is Tango Delta Charlio Foxtrot, and the one beyond that at Martinique is the Lamantin, which is Tango Foxtrot Foxtrot Foxtrot. So I've done it again. Right tank. Get rid of me and we'll do some outsidage for a bit. USAPR1 still with us? Kazaki Flyer, Elevator Bacon. Erling Hyundai has joined us. I see you now. Welcome. You got all your chores done. Isla de Albert up the nose. It's tiny if I remember right. Fingers crossed then, Brian. Fingers crossed. So there's twofold reasons for those that are new to the stream why I'm using the Mooney. One, the Mooney was used on the 80th anniversary flight of Amelia's around the world flight. It's very similar in airspeed and so flies approximately 150 knots, which is what the Electra would do in its day. It didn't have the range. So unlike the 600 gallon capacity that the Electra 10 had, the Mooney had 200 gallons of fuel on board for its flight. So when we do the longer legs, I will have to refuel in flight because the game only allows me to have 95 gallons per fuel tank. But I don't want to use unlimited fuel because I want to try and do what she did. Captain Arash, welcome, welcome. Oh, thank you so much for the raid. Everyone, Captain Arash is the gentleman I was talking to you about earlier. I hope you had a good stream, Arash. I was enjoying watching your flight over the volcano and some of your dudes landing in it. So that was incredible. I hope you had a great stream and you all had a good time. Good morning, ITX Hall. Arash is doing a similar thing to me in that Arash is flying around the world, but he's doing it in a Cessna 172. Oh, sorry about that, Kirkness. I changed it up to 15 emotes, would you believe, and it's still playing. I'm sorry about that. So Captain Arash is flying around the world in a 172, and it was flying from Madagascar today over to Africa. And so if you do get the chance to join him on his streams at any point, that would be fabulous, and I will give you a quick plug. So I think it's fabulous what he's trying, and I've watched him on several journeys. I watched him when he first set out, which was several months ago now, and I do keep hoping to join him, but my work gets in the way a lot. But next week when I'm flying on a Sunday, I'm hoping to join on the Saturday morning. Great, you managed to get there with all your fuel intact and no bingos. So, hey to everyone who's joined us, thank you very much. I'm Alison Johnson. I'm a very baby new streamer, and I'm having terrible trouble with my sound, so please forgive me if it sounds awful. But I woke up this morning and everything was turned off. I lost all my settings in all my in all of my Stream Deck, all of my Wave 3 mixer, everything completely default. Cool. I'm part of the Two-Tone Murphy flying community. I'm one of the Fireflies. I fly with them Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I'm with Colonel Hawk on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And as a community, we've all taken to doing some crazy things. So, oh, there we go. Quick look. Where's the Isla de Alves? You're here somewhere, or you might even be under the sea. So we should be turning just off of Isla de Alves. Oh, there it is, to the left. Can you see it? That tiny little island out there. That is, that island there is Venezuelan territory. It's technically just sand and rocks, so it should only have a 12-mile perimeter. But Venezuela have declared it's an island, and because it's an island, it has a 200-mile dependency territory limit around it. So we're skirting just on the edge of its territorial waters. In hurricane season, it's often destroyed and not there. There is a permanent scientific encampment on their building, but it's raised up on stilts on the island, and it's the scientists and everything use it now, but it's purely Venezuelan. So there's Isla de Alves. If you fly down to it, it's got quite a you can definitely see it's a military operation. You're very welcome, Arash. I don't have Emma cookies or Emma muffins, I'm afraid. So I'm doing an Amelia today, which is going hungry. But I shall eat like Amelia when I land. And I'm flying around the world, following the footsteps of Amelia Earhart's 1937 equatorial round the world journey that she started and never finished. I said I'm doing the Amelia Earhart journey around the world, but I don't have any cookies. I don't have Emma cookies or Emma muffins today, so I can't share how delicious my food looks. This is the second part of her. She tried it first going westward, and she got as far as Honolulu. When she took off at Ford's Field, which is now at Pearl Harbor, the left wheel collapsed on takeoff and she crashed the aircraft. I haven't yet, Barris, so I'm not over the Atlantic yet. I'm flying across from San Juan in Puerto Rico, and I'm going to Maturan in Venezuela today. On the 80th anniversary flight of Amelia's 1937 journey, a Mooney was flown on the same route, but it was heavily modified in that it had 200 gallons of fuel capacity, not 95 gallons that the aircraft has as standard. So it had, because we're going from the point is from Natal to Senegal. It's actually one of the shortest points across the Atlantic, just over 2,000 miles. This will get there fine, but I'm not going to use any more than 200 gallons. So I'm not using infinite fuel. I will use 95 gallons, then I'll refuel it, and then I won't do any more. So hopefully I shall make it. I hope I'll make it. The longest journey we've done so far is about 1,090 miles. It took us about 6 hours. It was 5 hours last week when we came down from Miami through Cuba, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. Today it's a very short flight. Well, it's short it's 570 nautical miles down to Maturan from Venezuela. So obviously the Mooney's got about 2,000 nautical mile range, 1,730. So it's got a great amount of range compared to some of the other GA aircraft. Plus it's fast. She had an engineer who did a ton of work for her, Clarence Johnson. Clarence Johnson, when he was a student, designed the wind tunnel. Yes, Ascension Island is definitely on the way. It's one of the waypoints I've got, just in case. Clarence Johnson designed the wind tunnel that they tested the Electra in, and he made modifications, and he also did all of the fuel altitude calculations to work on how far the Electra could go, at what height and at what RPMs, what manifold pressures. And Clarence Johnson went on to become the head of Skunk Works, obviously famous for aircraft like the Blackbird, the SR-71. So quite an amazing world, aviation. Yeah, I will be inside. That's because, yeah, Carapito doesn't exist, but I've managed to find you. So we don't cross the Atlantic for a couple of weeks now. So we go from Maturan in Venezuela down to Paramaribo in Dutch Guyana, and then from Paramaribo in Dutch Guyana down to Puerto in Brazil, and then they actually did a very short 1-hour flight from Puerto in Brazil to Natal, which was like an hour's flight, and that was done for the day, and then they did the Atlantic crossing overnight. So, but what I'll do, because an hour's stream's not very good, I will roll that 1 hour into the cross-Atlantic one, and I'll fly from Fortaleza to Natal, then across to Senegal. That's going to be a long flight. That's about 13 hours. With fuel tank at 95 gallons, this aircraft will do approximately 8 hours of flight. So, even though it's going to be wet and windy, there was a tailwind, so that helped. So, we do have the full map route. Over on Mervy's channel, I've actually got the full route plan that people can pick up. But yeah, we literally go from the shortest point across the just under the equator over to Senegal. The longest leg is the one she never finished, which is from Lae in Papua New Guinea to Howland Island in the Pacific, which was about midway between Lae and Honolulu. Oh, you've caught up, have you, Brian? Aha, so we've got Papa Joe B has found us in Stairway to Bacon. I don't know if Centauri is with us, Berlin Hyundai is with us, Dangerous Brian and Kazaki Fire. Super. Good to see you guys. So we've got about 1 hour 50 to Carapito. So, doing well, everything's staying stable. You're never late, are you? You arrive exactly when you need to. So no, it's just lovely having some people coming along. It's fine. You know, it's just not, I will be doing, I'd be doing this journey on my own, or so having people come along is just really, really good. Murphy persuaded me to try streaming, so at least I tried streaming. Try to keep it interesting, try to read some of the notes and everything that she had as we fly. I've got a whole raft of documentation and for every place that she's been to on this journey. Yeah, I know, it's cool, huh? I'm glad people are finding it interesting as we, tour the world as Amelia did back in 1937. I'm hoping when they bring out her other aircraft, so the Wing 42 who did the Blériot for Microsoft Flight Simulator are working on the Vega B. And when they get that Vega B, I will be flying the pants off that. And I will definitely be doing her transatlantic flight. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And then I'll do her Grand Circle navigation of East Coast, West Coast, West Coast, North Coast. I'll do her flight California, Mexico. And try and do some of the other things she did. But and if they ever bring out an Electra, I'll do it all again in an Electra. And perhaps do it the other way around, how she originally planned it, because I've got the original plans as well. Thanks, Seamus. It's really weird. It's really weird because I expect people to talk back. I'm so used to. Oh, thank you for the follow, Metellisi and ITX Hall. And Arash, thank you so much for the raid. Hey, Belbro, how are you doing? Lovely to see you. Hope you're having a great day, guys. Thank you, Arash. As I say, guys, if you do get the chance to go and watch Captain Arash, please do, and join him on his flight. He's flying around the world in a Cessna 172, which is, you know, a plane I love because I've flown in real life. I'm a Cessna girl at heart. I've grown to love the Mooney, and I was delighted to find that it was used in the 80th anniversary flight of Amelia's journey around the world. So it's fantastic. So here we go. Aperture B, early Hyundai. Dangerous Brian, Kazaki fire, stairway to bacon. So at the moment I'm doing navigation using the autopilot, but I've planned it based on the Grand Circle navigation that they've done, because back in the day there were no, there might not have been GPSs, but there were also no VORs or VDMEs, and the game doesn't have RDF beacons in it for us to allow us to do radio navigation and direction finding like it used to. So she had a a Sperry auto gyro, and the Sperry auto gyro was the first autopilot that could set on a direction, keep the wings level, keep the altitude and everything. And I don't know if you've heard the story, but when Sperry demonstrated it with Emile Cachan in Paris in 1927, they flew along the Seine, and on the first flight past a group of they basically had stands of people watching, military dignitaries and everything. The first flight they went past, Lawrence Sperry flew along with his hands out of the aircraft, and it maintained straight and level flight. On the second pass, as they were coming through the crowds, his assistant Emile Cachan walked out onto the left wing. The aircraft adjusted and then leveled itself. All the time, Lawrence Sperry was flying along with his hands out of the aircraft. On the third leg of the demonstration, Sperry walked out onto the right wing, Cachan was on the left wing, and no one was flying it, and it stayed straight and level. And the French Air Corps were the ones that took up the Sperry auto gyro and used it in a lot of their aircrafts, and they were the first ones to really use it as autopilot direction finding. Amelia Earhart on her journey used the Sperry auto gyro in the cockpit. So I don't know if you can see here, but the big round circle next to the so you've got a big round circle with wings, basically. That's the auto gyro, and she basically pointed that based on the directions that Fred Noonan had calculated using Grand Circle navigation, which is a way of calculating the shortest point between two points on a globe. So he told her what directions to fly, and she basically put Sperry at it. So we're doing roughly the same. I hand fly a bit of it every now and again for the moment. Obviously when I'm low and slow, I'll hand fly it and things like that. But no, so I'd love to. So in my normal times, if I'm flying around, I use radio navigation all the time. I love a challenge of a DME arc landing and approach. But for this flight, we're just really just flying the route that they flew. I'm flying at 8,000 feet, Brian. The reason we're flying at 8,000 feet is that Clarence Johnson had calculated that the best cruise height for the Electra, with its weight and fuel and power and manifold pressures and its RPMs, was 8,000 feet. So she flew at 8,000 feet a lot. Last week we did 3,500 feet because they had to duck below clouds. But a lot of the flights she did around 8,000 feet. Across Africa's a few about 10,000 feet. And then on the fateful last leg that she did, she also climbed to 10,000 with a very big, strong headwind. And that probably lost her a lot of fuel and time. I hope that answered your question. Yeah, very much so. I mean, so, yeah, some people have asked earlier, what do you think she would have thought of today's stuff? I think she'd have been blown away. But I think she'd have been incredibly proud to see how the cutting edge instrumentation that we have today was based on the pioneering that they did back in those days. So, you know, the technological advances of her cockpit. I mean, if you look at her cockpit, it's 1937. Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you look at the cockpit, it's not that, you know, steam gauge all the way. But if you look, I think if we all got in that today, you could pretty much fly that. It has everything you need. Yeah, I know, it's incredible, huh? I mean, when she flew across the Atlantic for the first time, she got very heavily iced up and nearly crashed. So, you know, we don't have the luxury of pressurized cabins that we have today, right? And that's the entire route that we're doing. So we've flown from Oakland in California to Burbank, Burbank to Tucson in Arizona, Tucson in Arizona, down to New Orleans to Miami, through the Caribbean to Puerto Rico, and then we're now going Puerto Rico to Venezuela. Amelia, when she got her pilot, that's her picture from her pilot's license. I have an Amelia hat. Do you know what? She only really used that in the Vega B, and she only really used it when she never used it, her hat, in the Electra. I think she would. GoPro the works, right? I better change my tank. So, or it would if it let me. Right, changing tanks. So RPM 2,200, manifold pressure 20 inches. Cylinder heat is good. Oh, engine temperature is a little low. Don't want to have a cold start on that. Let's bring that up a bit. Around about 1400 should be good. PSI a little bit higher, 55. Then the temperature is good today at 198. Still doing 12.9 gallons per hour, which is about 3 gallons per hour less than the Electra used to do. She had her own hairline. Hey, Rad Pilot Randy, how lovely for you to join us. Thank you so much. Thank you. She did have her own airline with Gore Vidal. But yeah, it used to fly East Coast. Did you know she also had her own fashion line? And that she wrote books? And she gave lectures at universities. The book's only, but she wrote a children's book as well. She lectures, fashion line. During the time, she made a lot of money out of a particular advertising which she hated, which was I think she promoted Lucky Strike cigarettes, but she never smoked. And but George Putnam, being the guy he was, basically said, basically made her influence everything. So she basically, this is why she was so successful. It's the way that she used to be promoted by her husband. find the name of the airline she used to run. Very true, very true. But you know, she was quite ardently against smoking, but made her a lot of money. And obviously she formed the 99s, which was a group of women aviators, made from the first 99 females that had earned a pilot's license in North America, and she was elected their first president. They formed that in 1929 after she placed third at the all-women's air derby that George Putnam had tried to rig. He tried to make someone not fly, and he did stop her flying, but somebody else still beat Amelia. So like I said, you know, she was not always the greatest pilot of her day, but she was certainly the most publicized. I had it written down, I just can't find it anywhere. Oh, and she'd also did luggage. It's known as Modern Air Earhart Luggage. On this flight, all of the airline engineers that worked on the aircraft all had AE on the back of their uniforms. Ah, here you go. She represented Transcontinental Air, which was TAT, or Transcontinental Air Transport, that later became TWA. She invested time and money in setting up the first regional shuttle between New York and Washington, and she was vice president of the Ludington Airline and vice president of National Airways, operating between Boston, Maine. And in 1940, that changed to become Northeast Airlines. So she was involved in a lot of, and obviously a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Beginning commercial aviation. And some of the companies that she worked with, you know, Pan American, Fred Noonan was a navigator for them. And when they did this route that we're flying on today, we have to remember that the planes that were flying these routes weren't like us with landing gear. Most of them were seaplanes. So they would land on water a lot of the time. A lot of this journey of Pan American. So Pan American pretty much looked after her all the way around the world. And she'd made it one of her wishes that when she came back to California, that when she would hold the sort of party, the first people that were going to be invited to it were all the people from Pan American that looked after her. Incredible lady. Hey Super Typhon, how you doing? Thank you for the follow, Rad Pilot Randy. So how are we doing? We're 1 hour 34 minutes out from Carapito. Everything's looking good in the numbers. We're going to be landing at runway 06 at Maturan. It's pretty much the only decent landage. I think she did. Searching my document. No, I'm not on the Arrow 3 Super Type 1. I'm actually on the Mooney M20R Ovation. And I'm using the tail number November Romeo 16020, which was the tail number that Amelia used on her flight. N for North America, R for restricted, because she was only ever meant to have her crew on board and nobody else, but was very naughty on the shakedown flights because she often had passengers which she wasn't allowed to, or shouldn't have had, which she did. And the Mooney was used in the 80th anniversary flight around the world, and has similar speeds and capabilities that the Electra had. And because the Electra's not in game, if it was in game, I'd absolutely do it. I could do it in another simulator, but Flight Sim is just incredible. Microsoft Flight Simulator, the views that we'll get over Africa, the Middle East, and Asia are just going to be fantastic. You know, totally worth doing. And doing the Mooney, I think, is fitting because it actually was taken around the world in the flights that she did. So right tank 35. Okay, 2 gallons to go, and then we're changing over. And behind us we have Fireflies. Oh, Technical Al has joined us as well. Hey, Technical Al, good to see you. Kazaki Flyer, Stay by the Bacon, who's been with me from the very get-go. I'm doing great, thank you, Technical. Dangerous Brian's with us, Erling Hundi, and Papa Joe B, all of Two-Tone Murphy's Flying Circus. Yeah, I'm doing grand, thank you. That would be nice. I could have used the King Air, which was a twin-engine aircraft, but it doesn't have steam gauges. Hello, hello, Kingsman. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. How's Liverpool today? Newcastle upon Tyne is horrible. It has yeah. So the King Air at the moment has the G1000, and I like steam gauges. And Amelia had steam gauges. I know I'm cheating a little bit with this, but she wouldn't have been able to use the VORs either, because they just didn't exist. Where am I at the moment? I can tell you. We are west of St. Lucia at the moment. Yes, Super Type 1. I'm really looking forward to getting the Lockheed Vega. And I will definitely do her recreation of her flights when I get that. I'm just praying that, and I'm hoping very, very nicely if I get into the beta for that. And I'm hoping they'll have the all red version, her big red bird. That will just be brilliant. And then we'll do the transatlantic flights and the transcontinental flights in that too. And then we'll actually use for the North American stuff. We'll try and do the Grand Circle stuff. I'll try and do it with maps. See, it's slightly easier for North America because of all the geographical things and the fact that the mapping tools that are available are better for North America at the moment. You know, Sky Vector's very well done, so I could probably circle navigate that quite well. So it's not so good in Europe. So 1 hour 28 minutes, 255 nautical miles to Carapito, which is the destination she landed at, but no longer has an airport. I have bought the Spitfire, Brian. Once I'm in the air, I'm wonderful in it, but I'm absolutely useless at landing or taking off in it. I'm shocking. Hey, Projects, good afternoon. Don't have to apologise at all. It's just lovely you've dropped along to see us today. Yeah, I was tired after I've had a long week, and I did fly. I flew till about 11 o'clock, and then I was just like, I've landed and I'm not dead, so I'm going to call it a win and sign off, and then just carried on watching. Yeah, CDL. So I catch him when the trouble with CD is because of his flights timings. In Europe here, we're sleep often. I joined and watched the other night over the weekend, and I woke up early one morning to try and to watch, but I think I would get things thrown at my head if I tried to join in and fly. But when I get a holiday and I can try and fly with him, I'd love to fly that. I've been watching his videos back though, so I don't know if you know, but everyone, but CDL's doing the Silk Road journey, and it was incredible, and I love it. It's really informative, and his flights are great, and I loved his quiz show the other night. That was incredible. Spitfire, it's very good. In the air, it's wonderful. So today, we took off from. I can do route actually. I've got all the commands working now. So, Tango Juliet, Sierra Juliet, and we're going to Sierra Victor Mike Tango in Venezuela. Super Typhon, you're very welcome to join us, when you can. Yeah, the more the merrier. Oh, I've got a Spitfire over me, am I? Aha. I see you. We absolutely encourage multiplayer. Having people come in and join the journey, learn a bit about Amelia, learn about aviation, I'm not the greatest sim pilot in the world, and I'm definitely not the greatest streamer in the world. I'm just doing this because I thought I'd like to share with the community of people that we're doing, some of the crazy things that that we're trying. I mean, Scotland Comet Project has done like round the world in a Mooney. He's done pole to pole in a Mooney. He's done some crazy things. He's now doing lots of crazy stuff in a comet, in the de Havilland Comet. We've got Cat Bat 9. He flew all the way from Tenerife to Australia, and he's now flying the world in a Cub. We've got Captain Arash, whose streams we go and watch, and he's flying around the world in C-172. So fantastic good. Hey, Test Pilot 72, how are you doing? Yeah, Red Mooney. So the Red Mooney is another reason. So the Electra B that she flew was silver mainly. I can't quite get it silver. I've asked someone if they can do me a livery for it, but I haven't had a reply yet. But the Electra was silver and red. I've tried to keep it like she did. Another little known fact then. So, did you know that she called her Electra the Flying Laboratory, in addition to it being her ship? Because as part of being funded by Purdue University, they stumped up $80,000 for this. She was to collect bits and pieces around the world, so fauna, rocks, geology, and take them back so they could be investigated, so that she could take bits of the world from where she landed and take them back. Raw materials. And she was going to use that as the foundation for her next book, would you believe? So flying the world and doing studies. And the other probably little known thing was this was going to be her last pioneering flight. It wasn't going to be the last of her flights, but it was going to be the last of the things where she tried to be a pioneer. So if you do ever get a chance to see CDL, pop over and see his great streams, his flights. And he's got this he's got What the Flock, which is like a Trivial Pursuit type quiz game. Two-Tone Murphy was on as their first contestant last week. It was great fun indeed. Very worth a view. I took part and helped beat Murphy on a question. So if you've been flying along since we started, guys, remember, stretch your legs, have a drink, have some hot chocolate or a sandwich. We're all packing our floats just in case. At least she had redundancy with having 2 engines, and we're trying it with 1. But having it being done, I'm quite confident. Normally, when I do flight streams, I fly with everything turned on, so autopilot mode, yeah. I always have full crashes, full failures, everything. But because this is, I'm trying to recreate a journey that didn't have crashes, I have turned them off for the moment. But you'll sort of seen me in all my glory dying yesterday when I was trying to land the Spitfire. You'll probably see me bounce today as well. .35 and 35, switching to right tank. Colonel Fort normally streams on a Sunday, Sim Aviation. Yeah, so Colonel Fork, he streams Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays. Colonel Fork likes Low and Slow. Great Cessna Flan. Recently though, took us all in jets through the Mac Loop in Wales, which the RAF use as a low-level training circuit. And whilst I'm not a jet flyer normally, I really did enjoy it, and I didn't kill myself landing in the jet, so that was a start. And the MB339 was perfect for it. It was not too fast and it wasn't too slow either, so you know, taking the valleys of 400 feet or so was fabby. It was a real buzz. Yeah, I imagine the match loop will take place in a Spitfire, right? I mean, the 339, if you're not used to jets like me, is really good. Really good. It's very accommodating, quite easy to fly. Has a speed brake like the Mooney, so you can fly by the numbers if you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm flying it, to be honest. I rarely fly it, but it is good. The T-45 is looking good. It's definitely called in Spitfires. Yeah, Seamus, I'm using the Elgato Wave 3. Only just got it. I do have a pop guard on it. I had it set up really lovely the other day. No echo, no nothing, no bouncing around. And now it's... I lost all my settings overnight. And yes, the music is Epidemic Sound, Super Typhon. So I think it's great. And royalty free. You're safe from DMCA. You can use it while you're licensed, and you can even use it when you're not, but as long as you don't create anything new with it. So as long as you can, post your videos to YouTube, and as long as you were licensed when it was created, you don't have to keep paying the license should you stop doing and things like that. So we are heading, the airport we're heading to, Brian, is Sierra Victor Mike Tango, but we're actually taking a little bit of a detour over the town of Carapito, which is south of Sierra Victor Charlie Papa. It's at approximately 189 degrees magnetic. And then from Carapito we'll descend down towards Maturan and then take a left entry straight into runway 06. So I'll post a link on the Discord later. It's meant to be dedicated for streaming, and so it has like headset sounds, mixer sounds, and then you can balance it, which I haven't done yet. But my boom arm doesn't fit my desk. So again, you wouldn't necessarily hit, because I've got a nice shock mount for it, but I can't actually. It doesn't sit on the desk, the mount. So, but once I've got that and it's there, it'll be closer, and I can get it more tuned up. But I had to email Elgato overnight or this morning because literally. The Wavelength software had lost everything, all the settings, which was not great. And the other thing it did is it got my playlists. Let's have a go at some Golden Age stuff. Hey Kingsman, I see you there now. Rad Pilot Randy, Stairway to Bacon, Dangerous Brian, Kazaki Flyer 55, Technical, and Papa Joe B. Thank you for joining, guys. Really appreciate you coming along, flying with us. And Sim Aviation was around somewhere in... Oh, Stairway to Bacon's out there on the left. You know that answer, Kingsman. North Europe, Steve-O. Hey, Gibbo Island. I know. The rivalry is real, right? So my commands are in the system, so the server will tell you where we're flying. So we're on the North Europe server. The plane I'm flying is the Moon M20R. You will never change my mind. My grandpa was an Evertonian through and through. Put me to games when I was a little girl. So no, you're not changing any of my minds. I'm a sucker, but blue through and through. We're not doing too bad this year though. For a change. Well, my family are Liverpudlian. You can obviously tell from my voice that I'm not from Liverpool myself. But my grandparents were. I used to go to the games a lot when I was younger. And certainly during the 80s. Hey Jefferson 2001, how are you doing? Lovely to see you. Did you see that your lovely Earhart Light made it onto my merch? Oi, Gibbo. Thank you. Give you. Only if we're on Join FS, Brian. It's only because we couldn't pay the rent. You've got Anfield. Quite a few Evertonians on Murphy's stream. Yeah, of course. We're going to be down on the on the dockside now that the new ground's been approved. I'm not so sure about that. But Goodison's had it. Goodison's had its day, it's too crowded. You can't. There's no way to put a new big stadium there. So. But I used to watching the Gladys Street end all the time. I do go to St James's Park actually. Yeah, when Everton play. My other half supports Newcastle, so it's like it's a family rivalry there. I flew over Goodison. I flew over St James's Park as well, just to see what it looked like. Newcastle's disappointing. They've got the Newcastle Bridge, which obviously don't know if you do know, but the Newcastle Bridge was the template for which the Sydney Harbour Bridge was based on, and it was built by the same people that did it. But that's pretty much the only bridge in Newcastle that is high quality scenery. All the rest is like just satellite. The Millennium Bridge is underwater, the High Bridge is underwater, the Road Bridge is underwater, the Swing Bridge is underwater. I mean, we've got like 15 bridges along the Tyne, and only one of them. Yeah, Newcastle is not far away from here by foot. Just the other side of the town more. Probably get there in about less than an hour by foot. Ah, Darlow. It's not as grim up north as people say it is. Certainly up here. I wouldn't go back down south now. I mean, I moved up here in 2004, but I was working up here a year before, pretty much solidly. Got relocated for work, and so much nicer. Quality of life is so much nicer. People are friendlier. Can't understand what they say half the time, but they're friendlier. And if we weren't on the North Sea, the beaches would be fabulous. Some of them are stunning. And I learned to fly over the northeast coast because they'd take you out over the northeast coast and fly up and down the coast to do all your practicing and stuff. One of my very first 7 visual reference points. Druridge Bay Plant. Marina, the church. Whitley Bay, Spanish city. Quarries. And of course, Will Murphy's, got a very, very strong Irish accent, so. 191.5 miles to go to Carapito. How are we doing? 220 on the nose, 20 inches. Yeah, it's all good. We're still doing around 150, 172, a little bit of a headroom, so still got a 4, very big one. 1 hour, 6 minutes to go. So it depends where I go. I'm a bit of an accent sponge. So I can speak Swedish and German and a bit of French. And my housemate's Swedish. No, Dangerous Brian, I'm not. It's because the only panel I have now is that I use is the throttle quadrant. But I did used to use Spadnex when I first started playing with the MSF until I got my Bravo, and then I don't use it now. You're having problems with it, Brian? Aviation, Erling Hyundai, Papa B, Ow, Kozaki Flyer, Draco. Draco's joined us back. Are you at Rental Power, Draco? Brad Pilot, Randy, Dangerous Brian, Gibbo. Oh, Gibbo, you're flying along too. Wow, brilliant, thank you. Kozaki Flyer, Stairway to Bacon. Lovely. I'm afraid there's not much to see apart from sea at the moment. Yeah, so I'm not using the panels right now, and when I get the, when the Bravo turns up, which I'm hoping will be a few weeks now, that'll have everything I need. Hey, Scotland 737 Max Project. Oh, I think you should, aren't you Scotland Comet Project now? Hey, lovely to see you. How are you doing? You've recovered from your 13-hour flight yesterday. Scotland 737 project, or Scotland Comet Project, is taking the de Havilland Comet on a myriad of journeys around the world. And I think went from London to Tokyo overnight. My in-game name is Ali Katz, so it's my name's Alison and I like cats. been a gamer tag since before, when the first Xbox came out. Hope you had a good day, Darren, and it wasn't too hideous. I think Murph's working as well today. Oh, I'm a sucker for cats. I've only got one left now. She's 21 years old. Still plays like a kitten, got no teeth. At one point we had 4 of them. Sadly, 3 of them have passed on now, but they had a good life and we loved them. Oh, cats are wonderful. I had a super dappy one. She was like, she was obviously well, she wasn't the runt, well, she must have been the runt, but she was like completely spaced out all the time. But she'd lie on the desk and she'd cuddle my arm while I was playing like Final Fantasy 14 or WoW or whatever I was doing at the time. She'd literally curl up and cuddle along my arm, or use my keyboard as a bed, which ruined several raids I was in once. So, I've only ever had one cat from a kitten, and all the rest have been rescued. Oh, nice. So, originally I had a black, a white with tabby bits, and a big long-haired ginger fluff ball. That was Lucifer, Merlin, and Einstein. And then we got Poppy, and she was the one from a kitten. And then she was pure black. And then she died when she was 16. She had liver cancer. Then we had Flo, and she was very badly abused. But she was so lovely. She was the one that used to cuddle my arm. She was lovely. Stupid, but lovely. And then we had Tilly Bear, and Tilly was just like, she was just like body and just very tiny small legs. And she was about 15 or 16 when she died. But Lana, she's a tortie, and she's 21 this year. Oh. Yeah, she's 21 this year. I know, right? She'd never be able to, I mean, she doesn't go outdoors. Because first owners gave her to a dog as a toy, so she had very badly broken bones and tails. And then the second people who took her in kept her in a downstairs toilet. So she's super scared of doors being shut, obviously. And when we got her, she was. It took me weeks and weeks and weeks to coax her out from behind a curtain she hid behind. I used to have to go in and push water bowls and food onto and she was like cowering in the corner. I mean, these days I can pick her up and cuddle her, I can rub her tummy. She loves rubbing tummy rubs. She likes playing. She used to, when you tried to pick her up before, she'd like go and try and run, and she'd spaz out a little bit. But now I can pick her up and I just hold her. I don't have to hold her tightly, and she just rests her arms on my arms and her legs on my arms, and I can put her down, and she doesn't run away anymore like she used to. So I don't know how people can do the things they do. Yeah, it's a terrible one. Changing tanks. I don't know how they can do the things they do, but she fell on her little paws. Bombays. Yes. I mean, honestly, she's the most loving cat I've ever met. I mean, she's lovely. And how? But I like to think that she's had, 19 good years with us, and where she's, been loved and cared, and she gets spoiled daily. I mean, I have fish fingers. She's got fresh mackerel. I mean, fresh mackerel from the fishmongers. And, yeah. My housemate, I mentioned, is Swedish. She's, it's Lana's bed. It's not Marlin's bed anymore. It's Lana's bed. Lana lets her sleep on it occasionally. Hey, Marlin. She all right? Bought Panda's. Meet Marlin, everyone. She's my housemate. Talking about our cats, Tilly, Flo, Lana, Poppy, Einstein, Lucifer, and Merlin. There's Steve-O. Steve-O, you're there. Nice to see you. Papa Joe B, Erling Hyundai. Technical, Stairway to Bacon, you're still with us. Draco, Red Pilot Randy, Dangerous Brian, Giver, Oland, and Kazaki Flyer. You found us. Welcome. You take care, Kingsman. I'll catch you later. Have a great rest of your day. Marlin often brings me tasty snacks and tasty beverages during flying. Take care. See you soon, Kingsman. Yeah, Marlin looks after me very well. It's like when they eat in their bowl and they've got loads of food around the edge and the bit in the middle's empty, and it's like, where's my food? And then you sort of take it away and you shuffle it up and put it down and then they eat it again. It's just like, it's the same food, cat. But yeah, Lana gets Mogurt. She has her own cat yogurt, which she loves. Literally, she can't jump to the floor and the bowl quick enough when she sees that stuff come in. I probably have generic on Sim Aviation. No, Marlin, it's not actually. Well, I'm nearly through the tasty beverage that's in my tasty beverage holder, but I'm not quite there yet. I have it turned on generic models just because every time I turn it off I crash. I haven't tried it lately and I didn't want to do it today while I was streaming, but when we fly with Murph next time I'll turn it off and see if I oh, crash. I used to get loads of CTDs with it for some unknown reason. When we flew with Catbat through India and Indonesia, I kept turning it on and off, and then I gave up and just kept it on. Test Pilot 72, thank you for the follow. So we're 153.7 miles away from Carapito, which was the original destination for Amelia and Fred. We can't land there today, there's no airport anymore. I guess we could try and find a field, I guess it's not quite the same thing. And we will be landing at Mataran, which is the next town over. We started at San Juan in Puerto Rico at just around 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if the game's still catching up time-wise, but it's now 10:28, so that's about right, because they arrived about 11:18. So it's going to be roughly on the nose, which is good. Just around an hour or so to the first new continent since we left California. Really very little to see out here. We are skirting the Caribbean islands that are over to our west, or to our east actually. So we're heading south. You have to be more elaborate, Marlin. What are you spying that I... So how are we doing? So you can see where we're en route now. So if Sammy's was here, we could sort of like we're very we're the closest we've been to Trinidad and Tobago since forever. Gallons to tank change. Numbers are staying lovely. Draco, oh, I can see Draco out there. Steve-O's very nice flying, guys. I'm trying to keep it all nice and even. Yeah, Marlon and I used to have a game when we were at work. We used to work with people all around the globe, and when they were doing their presentations, we'd be sat there telling them jokes or trying to make them laugh on conference call. I'm a bit of a joker. I'd be the one that'd be taping down the telephone button so that when the people picked it, I would carry on ringing. That's just... I think we talked about this last week, but for Osh, so Osh will depend on one big thing for me. It will depend whether or not I buy my Tesla. So we're hoping to get a Tesla late this year, early next. So if we get it before if we've saved enough before then yes, I will probably make Osh. But I can't think about booking it just yet. I got stung last year, so I was going to go. So another thing, I'm a big baseball fan. I don't support a big team, but when I was little, they were good, and I support the Cincinnati Reds. So I've got signed shirts, I've got signed balls. I've even flown out for a long weekend and watched baseball. So I've flown out on a Thursday, watched Friday, Saturday and Sunday games and come home on a Monday. So I watched baseball all year and things like that. So, oh, it's worth a screening. Be able to post those up. Nice. And if we get the Tesla, then yeah. But I lost all my money last year. I was going to opening day. We managed to get opening day tickets, which are like rarer than rocking horse poo. booked the hotels, booked the flights. We got the day tickets back. We didn't get the money back on the opening day tickets. I mean, we paid a lot. We StubHubbed them, but we lost that. BA won't give me a real refund, so they've only given me a voucher, but it extends into 2022. So, and I was gonna, so that should take us to Oshkosh if we need to. So, hopefully, fingers crossed. I want to go to Oshkosh for the Two-Tone Murphy meetup. I want a Model Y, Gibbo, but then obviously they're not out in the UK until later this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if Giga Berlin gets moving. We've had this one. I'm going to change the playlist, guys. So yeah, Model Y is what we want. Probably going for the long range rather than the performance. You're talking a couple of, minuscule differences. It's only in the US and some Europe, so there's some places in Europe have got it. So people in Norway can order it, but we can't in the UK. But yeah, my other half's electric mad. And we hired a Tesla for a bit of our staycation last year and drove it around the country for a few days, and it was fantastic, and it converted me, so that's what we've picked for next. So my car's all paid off now, so just saving for the deposit. It's quite expensive. But I've got a fairly new car to trade in as well. Yeah. You probably could, right? I mean, Norway's really good for electric cars. So 45 minutes to Carapito. Still no sign of land off the notes. 2 gallons till change tank. Dangerous Brian's out there on the left. Draco's out on the right. And I've still got people on my wing. Happy. Great of you to join in, guys, and fly. I know we we fly up, we fly a long way, and we land. We don't do lots of little legs, but we've got tens of thousands of miles to go. Should actually bring up and see how far we have got to go once we land. So once we get to Mataran, we'll have 20,861 miles to go out of our 28,000 mile journey. So we've done quite a good hop so far, guys. Next week's leg is around 900, well, it was going to be 916 miles, but I'm going to pull it short to Paramaribo, because I made a mistake. I put a waypoint on it. So it's probably about 500 miles next week. So about this sort of length. And then it's another 500 miles the week after. And then we've got 2,000 miles. Captain Arash, thank you so much for the kind subscription. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Yep, so 28,000 miles. in total. We're down to 20, just over 21, just under 21,000 now. And then we've got a 2,000-mile night flight from Natal to Senegal. It's going to be a weird old flight, that one. DDL, hey! Lovely to see you. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. Talking all about you earlier and recommending people come and have a look at your stream and your new quiz show, What the Flock, which was brilliant last week. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I'm sure you all know CDL more than you know me, but if you ever get the chance, I've loved watching his streams lately. I sadly haven't been able to join because of the time that you stream, but one day I'll have a day off and you'll be streaming, and then I'll be coming over to have a watch. No problem, Captain Arash. That's lovely. No, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So today, CD, we're on our way from San Juan in Puerto Rico down to Mataran in Venezuela on leg 6 of the Amelia Earhart flight. Got a bunch of fireflies and people from Captain Arash's stream joined us today, which is fantastic. Sim community widening up with the multiplayer flights, which is just phenomenal. We haven't quite got as much exciting to see this week, but for the next few weeks we're flying over southern South America, and then we're into Africa, which I've not done a lot of. So yeah, we've got Draco, Razor Cab, Floydrix B, Gibbo Island, Papa Joe B, Kazaki Flyer, Technical, Rad Pilot Randy, Stairway to Bacon, Steve Zolok UK, Steve Lowe UK, and Sim Aviation Hurling. We've got quite a few people here. Colonel Falk, good morning to you. Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing it 1 week. I'm doing this once a week because some of them are monstrous legs. You know, I'm going to have to get up like really early in the morning and do them. Maybe I'll see some people may be able to join in from different time zones, but yeah, I'm doing it really for me, and I'm just sharing that along with people, and people are joining in, which is incredible. Which you know, Colonel Falk's another member of the Two-Tone Murphy Flying Circus that we fly along with. So I don't have your stream schedule, CD, but if you want to tell everyone when you stream, that'd be absolutely great. Colonel Falk streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. General aviation flyer like me, likes the low and slow, but also every now and again jumps in the jets. Took us on a great tour of the Mach Loop recently in jet fighters, and Murphy produced a video of it. Oh, it was superb. So, you know, Colonel Falk can be found over on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday nights. I tend to join in when I can. Sometimes in the week recently I've not been able to join as much because of work, but I always jump on and watch. So it's just, you know, that I am so flabbergasted actually about, you know, the flight sim community and how brilliant it is. You know, I used to flight sim, but I never used to do stuff multiplayer, and I didn't really used to watch streams. And then when, you know, I've had, you know, flown flight sims, God, since, you know, DOS days and stuff. But they, you know, even X-Plane was good, but when this came out and you could do VFR flying, that was it for me. Because I'm, you know, you can fly airliners and things like that, but I've never flown an airliner. I've only ever flown GA aircraft in real life. So for me, using visual reference points and traditional navigation in a sim where I can literally follow the roads and get to where I'm going, it's brilliant. Or, you know, IFR, I follow roads, I follow rivers. Thank you, CD. So, yeah, Thursdays and Saturday evenings, 8 PM Eastern, 0100 Zulu, Friday and Sunday mornings. Nice. I will get there for Friday. And I will probably catch you on Sunday. But, yeah, we're at 8,000 feet, heading towards South America. We've got about 109 miles to Carapito, and then about another 20-odd miles beyond that to Mataran in Venezuela. We've left San Juan in Puerto Rico, and we've flown south we took a little detour over Isla de Alves. Yeah, GA always. Which is roughly sand and rocks. But Venezuela called it an island, so it now is got a 200-mile Venezuelan territory around it. So we popped by that as a little thing to see, because there's not much to see out here. And heading down to Mataran, where we'll land for the night. We would have been at Carapito, but the airport doesn't exist anymore. Those that have joined, I've shared some things earlier. I found the original hangarage cost for looking after the Electra at San Juan, which was not very much indeed, so about $15.50, $14.50. Obviously some pictures of the aircraft in the hangar at San Juan. And that's Amelia, Ed, Fred, and some people wanting autographs. In the evening, they went to a plantation to stay with a friend of Amelia's, and she took some photos looking back over the island. And then on the 2nd of June, she overslept, wanted to be away around 5 o'clock in the morning, but the aircraft didn't get off until about 7, so the sun was already up. And this is a picture of Fred and Amelia getting into the aircraft at Puerto Rico on the 2nd of June 1937, where they headed to Carapito. They had originally wanted to go to Paramaribo in Dutch Guyana, but changed their mind and landed at Carapito instead. And then the next hop will be from Carapito, Mataran to Paramaribo. So I'm 30-30, change tanks. I always change my tanks at 5 gallons a piece, unless I'm coming into land, and then I'll use the heaviest one. Airspeed's still around 150, 172 on the ground, so we've got to look to slow down a little bit. RPM to 200. 1 inches of manifold pressure. Cylinder heat's okay. Engine temp EGT is around 1400, which is good. Oil pressure is 55 psi, and the oil temperature is 198 degrees. Let's start with FSX, and eventually joined a fluctual airline flying wings. Isn't it just? I mean, I've tried some of the FS economy, on air, and the new one, 42 parallels, High Park, and I quite like them, but they're nothing like flying around with you guys. I mean, I was rubbish yesterday, absolutely rubbish in the Spitfire. I was drossed. Once I was in the air, it was fine, because it just wants to fly. But landing the darn thing and taking off was not pretty. And we've met so many people from all around the world. Australia, Asia, Russia, Europe, North America, Canada, South Africa, Brazil. No worries, Kazaki. I mean, I'm not firewalling it. I'm trying to fly it within the numbers that Clarence Johnson set for the Electra, but matching it for what the Mooney does. So the Electra would aim to do 150 knots at 8,500 feet. Yeah, tail draggers are my bane, just because I just not used to them. I've always flown real tricycle aircraft. So I'm going to have a playoff stream though with the Spitfire, and I'm going to do one line of nose up. I'm going to put the bias fully to starboard and try and not go over the 8 boost. See if I can keep it straight. But it's just, I wouldn't say I'm lead-footed, but it makes me look lead-footed. I don't think a Spitfire's meant to go along the runway with one wing in the air, is it? And the other one scraping on the ground as you take off. Because that was me yesterday. That was dreadful. I won't even tell you about the... I went on the roof. I literally landed and flipped over onto my roof. Dreadful. It were awful. Oh, it was dreadful, wasn't it? It was appalling. It's like, oh. I mean, when we landed at Bournemouth last night, I got there early. I wasn't going to end up in the carnage of everybody else. Plus, I wanted to go to sleep. And the approach was good. Splash of 6, good afternoon. Doesn't matter how late you are, we've still got about 40 odd minutes left. We are on North Europe. So I have the commands all set up, so server I must create a button for that. So we're on North Europe. If you have any trouble finding us, my in-game name is Alley Cats. Yeah, it is a bugger. I tried to just let it naturally slow down. I actually did a 3-pointer. Tried to let it naturally, and I just literally just touched the brakes and poof, over I went. I'll have a go later, because I imagine at some point Kelthorpe will be going around the Mach Loop in a Spitfire, right? So as I was saying earlier before you were on, I'm not really a fighter person or a jet person. And as CD says, you know, I'd rather fly GA and go low, slow, and see things as I go. But that was fun. I actually did like that. So my stream next week is going to be on Sunday. Yeah. So the reason I'm changing it next week is that Two-Tone Murphy and the Flying Fabio are doing a joint stream at 6 PM Zulu, where the Two-Tone Murphy community and the Flying Fabio community are all joining up for a mass multiplayer Spitfire extravaganza flight. And we'll have the Fireflies, the Thunderflies aerobatics team, and Fabio's team. I think that Fabio's this week is spending time teaching people how to do formation flying and everything. So Fireflies have got some work cut out if we're all going to look good on stream next week. So I will be flying at 2 o'clock on Sunday next week, and I will update my schedule after this stream is finished. But I wanted to let everyone know who was on that we were going to be doing that. So yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, Fabio's brilliant. You're a real world pilot. Very educational, very knowledgeable. I go on not often, just often to listen to him talk about stuff. And I learn a lot, which is great. Love learning. You can never know everything, and you can never know enough. Yeah, Duxford's it's good at Duxford. Duxford now have a dual-seater Spitfire. So they've got the main pilot, and then there's a passenger one that they've made built into it, and you can actually go. It's very expensive, but you can go on a Spitfire flight from Duxford these days. Well, hopefully when all this nonsense is over and we can get out and about again. But yeah, the Merlin engine, huh? Great flying, Steve-O. Look at Steve Solo. You know, I call you Steve-O all the way. know, I'm not precious about my days. As long as I get one of my days and I can get to stream, you know, I'm really invested in this project I'm on. I want to complete it. I want to have fun as I'm doing it. I want to, you know, share all the stuff that I've taken months to investigate, drag out of archives and everything. And you know, when he said yesterday, he pinged me and he said, "Oh, next Saturday," but he pinged me on the Friday. So I thought, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Oh, I'm finishing around 4-6," and he went, "Great." And then on his stream last night, he went, "Oh, the Saturday after next." It's like, "Oh, right, okay, that's one of my long ones." So I'm going to move it to the Sunday to say that it doesn't clash, because I want to fly along too. The more I fly, the better it is. You know, I love it. Oh, look, land! We've got some islands, guys. We haven't seen islands for hours. Where are we on the map? That is Testigo. Where? Isla Testigo Grande. It's a dependency federales of Venezuela. According to my map. Oh, CDL, that's lovely. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. Looks like Bing hasn't seen it either. No. Well, according to my map, it's a dependency of Venezuela. But as you say, land ho. Land ahead, guys. Fantastic. So, as always, we've got a little bit to go before we don't need our floaties, and we don't need to save our sandwiches for the sharks. And then over the next couple of weeks, we're over land, so the parachutes will be fine. So we've been, you know, obviously the original flight, the Electra had twin engines, so it had a little bit of redundancy, whereas we don't. Have to confess, because I'm trying to recreate the flight they did, I do not have engine failures turned on right now. Normally when I fly flight sim, I have everything turned on. You know, overstress, engine failures, the works. But because I don't want to keep, you know, do something wrong and ruin the memorial flight, I've turned it off for now. I will certainly be going every time I fly with Murph and Co. I make sure my carnage is turned on. The flight is next Saturday, which is Saturday the 13th of March at 1800 Zulu. So this week, the Flying Fabio is doing lessons on formation flying. And you can find the Flying Fabio over at Twitch TV, and obviously Murph's doing his streams Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays over at Two Toe Murphy. Just had to drop in a Trinidad TV one. Absolutely. So just off to our east, Colonel Falk, is Trinidad and Tobago. This is the closest we've got as a community to Trinidad and Tobago, and there's no Sammy. So Sammy's could have come along today and watched, and Trinidad and Tobago is off to our port wing. There we go. Oh, Rogers RC is here now as well. Lovely. Great to see you. Stairway to Bacon, Steve Solo, Razor Cab. Crikey, look at all of us, all the Fireflies. Wow. Splasher 6 has found us. Draco, Erling Hyundai, Kazaki Flyer, Brad Pilot, Randy, Technic Al, Gibbo Island, Floydrix B, and Goblin Zeus as a Druid Zeus. Erling Hyundai is one of our of the Two-Toe Murphy aerobatic display team, the Thunderflies. No worries at all. So, 22 minutes now to Carapito. Take care, Tanacal. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and thank you so much for coming along and joining us. I really appreciate it. It's lovely, isn't it? I'm really delighted, and I'm glad everyone's coming along and joining in. As you say, the more flying we do, the better, right? Yeah. I have a little picture to share when we get to the end of the arrival that Amelia had when they got there. Hey Annalisa, how are you doing, darling? Are you feeling any more a little bit better today, or oh, I guess the ice pack on your face is not good news. Is the tooth still hurting? So the Trinidad, it's quite a good-looking aircraft. The only thing that puts me off is the pilot's view out of the cockpit. So one of the reasons I like the Mooney, I'm quite a short ass in real life, and in Cessnas and things like that, I can see over the cowling, whereas I can't really see I can't see over the cowling, and I can't really see much around it. So for an eyes outside, you know, for an aircraft where you need to have your eyes outside in GA, I find it quite restricted. Whereas the Cessnas and the Moonies have really quite good visibility. It's like the Spitfire. I actually find it quite hard to. Do you know what it is? When you're coming into land, I always worked on the basis that to create the view that you wanted, my landing spot is a fist above my cowling. That's the spot I aim for. I never aim for the numbers. I always try to aim for the 1,000 feet marker, because I've seen what people do if they aim too short. It ain't pretty. So I pick that spot, but I find it very hard with like the Bonanza. The Bonanza's got a very elevated nose, so actually it's not quite the right pitch for me. And the Lindbergh reference is quite small. And of course, it's named the Lindbergh reference after Charles Lindbergh, for when he flew over the Atlantic, and his Spirit St. Louis had a metal window, didn't have a screen in front of him. He actually used two windows to the side of him to see out, and that's what we get on the sort of side of your aircraft when you've got your nose up pointing down the runway for landings. You use the Lindbergh reference. Yeah, I hope you've got an appointment soon. I'd give you mine that my dentist has just asked me to go to. I'm not very good at the dentist. God. I'm a shocker. I'm good at doctors, and I'm a good guinea pig, but dentists, I once had some treatment and I got so spooked by it, I ended up legging out of the chair. I still had the bib, I still had a clamp around my tooth, and I legged it up the street with the dentist chasing after me. Not my finest moment. I do hope you feel so much better soon, Annalisa. I have no worries about butter. Do you know what? I don't care if it's not butter, as long as I don't go veering off to the grass like I keep doing. And it would be great, but I keep veering off onto the bloody grass. Terrible. Not just the bib, I had the clamp on my tooth as well. Hadn't quite got to the filling bit. Venezuela, ahoy! So, what we need to remember when Amelia flew here this was heavily heavily jungled. And she wrote, she flew at 8,000 feet most of the way, bucking headwinds, and the coast of Venezuela in the hazy distance was my first glimpse of the South America. She'd never been to South America first, so this would be her first glimpse as she came towards Carapito. She saw densely wooded mountains and close beneath them wide valleys of open plains and jungle. She had never seen a jungle before. Close-knit tropical jungles were in a pilot's eye. The least desirable of all places that you could try and want to land. She followed a muddy river that wound its way through, snaking through the tightly packed greenery. It was reddish brown. And inland was a red-roofed town of Carapito. Lots of dense loggage. Yeah. Tasty beverage, yep, tasty beverage holder refill time. I'm literally out of tasty beverage. Yeah, I flung myself up in the air. I did a tail stand and then fell over onto my roof. I promised not to do that in the Mooney. Look at all of this. I must get another screenshot. All the guys flying as we come in, and I'll post them up on Two-Tone Murphy's Discord later. Look at that. What a group. Thank you so much, everyone. I am so pleased that you've all taken time out of your busy days to come and join me on these flights. I'm really overwhelmed. Thank you. Panda, I would love a cup of tea. I never thought I'd actually sit and talk a lot on streams. Captain Arash has joined us too. Hey, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. So 1 gallon left till change. So, well, we do indeed see mountains. I'm not so sure that it's as green as it once was. But never been here before, so this is lovely. Well, we've got a little bit of time now. About 42 miles to Carapito. And it's only about 24 miles from Carapito. So there's Venezuela. Mountains and valleys, like she said. Probably a bit more deforested. Certainly over there to our right. Wonder what the Rad Pilot Randy, let me tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, you will never be as bad as me in the Spitfire. So, you're already better than me. If you can get into the air, it's brilliant. And to be fair, I've only done a couple of flips, but I haven't I've gone off in weird directions and flown around, so it wasn't my finest hour. We will all get better together. Yeah. I mean, tomorrow morning I intend to get up and I intend to practice on it. It was like the Mooney. You know, I've never flown a Mooney in real life. I flew Cessnas, high wings. So my first landings in this were dreadful. And ailerons into wind. Took some time out, did a video for me, and then talked me through it. And then it just all clicked. So 25 gallons, changing to left. So everything's still good. 220 on the nose, 150-ish, 173, so picked up of ground, 20 inches of manifold, 380 degrees cylinder heat, EGT 1403, oil pressure's good at 55, and it's all stayed pretty solid because it's just literally flying solo, and we've got about 4 hours 15 of flight left. Oh, fantastic, Jefferson! I must download it. Trying to find someone who can do me a livery for the Mooney in aluminium and red. Haven't been lucky, so, but this silver and red will do. So here we go, guys. We're now over the coast, and there are the red roof buildings and stuff that she was talking about. So I've never been here before, so my senior will probably take some time to load in. That's brilliant, Jefferson. You are a legend. So for those of you who are new to our community, and there's quite a lot of you aren't, but Jefferson is one of our, he's made loads of sceneries for us. He's done the Casement Aerodrome at Baldonnel, which is payware. It is pure payware quality. Oh, Annalisa, thank you so much. You've just bought a t-shirt. Or is that the sweatshirt? One of the two. I can't remember which one's which, but lovely. The t-shirt's quite nice. And it's got the Here's Johnny design. And it's also got a Jefferson 2001 scenery artwork on it. Which is... sorry, because it's all Streamlabs. So it's got community design, it's got my aircraft, it's got Amelia's number. It's got a signature that's on one of the signs that when we get there, and Jefferson's is working on Shannon, I think, and he's done now the livery for the Spitfire for Two-Tone Murphy, but he also did some work especially for this flight, and he tidied up and cleaned up Howland Island, which is the island that... Oh, Draco, no! Sorry. And he's made the Earhart Light. Oh. Which was the memorial that was placed there for Amelia when she didn't arrive. It's now quite dilapidated these days, and when we get there, obviously we'll see it as it was in its glory, and we will stop on the island. Those people that have done this flight since then have never stopped. They've either dropped wreaths or flowers as they flew over the island. But we're going to stop because that's where she was going to go, where she was going to be refueled by the Itasca. And we will stop and we will park up by that lighthouse and pay homage to a pioneer of flight. It's the longest leg of the journey at over 2,205 miles. Oh, thank you, Marlin. So it's going to take a while. Yeah, we're over hills, Brian. There we go. So now we've got some land and not just some blue pictures. So not quite the jungle she used to see, right? Quite a lot of towns down there now. This was once, just wilderness. Now you can see the deforestation taking place. The shark threat is over. Your sandwiches are safe. Our hot chocolate is safe. Oh, Gibbo, there are many Another 12 legs. So another 12 weeks. Thank you, Marlin, for the fizzy beverage. Scenery is lovely. As it's loaded in and not looking too bad. Shark. Land shark. So I play Final Fantasy XIV as well, and one of the bosses in the Shadowbringers expansion was Land Shark. Basically. They'd have two of them, one would jump out and beat you up while the other one swam around and did stuff to you, and the other one would then jump out and tag team, and the other one would jump in. Sharknadoes. Oh, I guess Sharknadoes, right? They are a potential. So ahead of us we should have Carapito not too far away. But you can see the effect of deforestation, can't you? Even here. Oh, Gibbo, it should be relatively straightforward. That would be lovely. Basically, it's aluminium with red strips on the wing and a red bit on the tail. But that'd be fantastic, mate. Thank you. Yes, I've got quite a lot of legs. I think it would look fabulous on a Mooney. That's brilliant, mate. Let me know if you want some money for it, because obviously these things take time. Annalisa, how lovely. Thank you, darling. That's really kind. You're a legendage and a VIP of my channel. Annalisa's my dancing partner on the two-tone Murphy streams. She's better. I dance like a brick. But where are we looking on the VFRs? So Carapito ahead. So there's the road, I guess. Oh, I guess it's the river. I guess it could be a road. Oh, it's the river. So she probably followed the snaking river in down into Carapito, because she talked about it snaking through. Would have been quite something flying in here in 1937 when it really was jungle. So that's Carapito ahead of us, where Amelia and Fred stopped for the night. We'll take a slightly southwest direction from there, down to Macharan, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a turn out, and then we'll come in for runway 06. It's the only thing I could find on the charts. I do. I also swim like a brick. I have the aquadynamics of a brick. I can swim, I'm just not the greatest. So, hence the sandwiches, because I'll be the one the sharks will be catching up to first. We haven't got to worry about them for a while. Yeah, there's pretty much so Maturan. It's even charts are not very up to date on this one, I'm afraid. Basically straight in runway 06. So let me see. SVMT. I wonder if this will share now, because it's a pain in the bum. So this is let's have a quick look at Maturan. So if we look at the reference, no taxis, nothing. Approaches runway 6 is today is a VOR DME approach. So you'd have a VOR DME arc approach down into runway 06. So you want to be at 2,200 at 10 nautical miles out. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, generally we have a lot of information about the airports we land at because they became quite big airports in future. But nowadays, yeah, a lot of the older, I mean, for example, the Leh airport, which was basically a grass runway, is now an international airport out of Papua New Guinea. Hey, Catbat. Hello, welcome. You've caught us just flying over Carapito, which is where Amelia Earhart landed when she did this leg, but this no longer has an airport, so I couldn't land here. But this is Carapito, and there's that muddy brown river. And it was little red houses, she said in her notes. Apparently there was a splendid airfield with paved runways and a well-equipped hangar that was managed jointly by Pan American Airways and the Standard Oil Company. So at least does have red roofs, so we can see some red roofs down there as a cloud comes in to ruin our view of the town. I mean, at least it's got a football ground at least. I hope you've had a great afternoon, Catbat. A great day. Have you been out flying? Catbat never sits still, he's always flying somewhere. Although last week he joined us for most of the flight and got a very numb bum. Yeah, so the nearest airport is Maturin Super Typhoon, and that's where we're going to land today. Maturan is not very far from where we need to from where we are now. So we're going to start descending in a little while, and then we'll have 24 nautical miles to go. We want to be about 1,700 feet as we get past St. Louis. So it looks relatively flat now. So we'll start to make our descent shortly. Just checking my notes. So we're pretty much top of descent now. So we want to get down to around about 1,700 feet. 2,000. Let's go down to 2,000, and that'll give us a nice approach in. Mooney, you're very naughty. The numb bummage was real. Well, I'm glad you've got your Bravo. I'm incredibly jealous because we're waiting for mine. But how is it? Is it good? I'm obviously delighted you've got it. So let's arm that down. Mooney for this September. So 2,100. 2,000, let's try it out. Make sure we're good. So guys, if you're behind me in anything but a Mooney, to make sure I don't overstress and I'm trying to be a good pilot. I am at least going to occasionally my air brakes. I'll let you know when I do it. Yeah, live weather would probably be pretty horrible. It was a good day when she flew there. I wish we had historical weather. I try to create the weather it is on the day. When we fly out of here next week, it's going to be wet, misty, and horrible. So we're doing good. I'm slowing down a little bit, guys, just to make sure we don't go too fast and we get down quite quick. Just making sure that I'm managing my lean as I come down. I'm so looking forward to it because I've had the Cytec panels and Cytec throttles for ages. They work, but it's still plugged into the old Cytec yoke that's under my desk because it doesn't work on its own. Oh, Catbat, you're so naughty but so kind. Thank you so much. Thank you, Catbat. That's really kind of you. Catbat, you are a legend. So we've probably got about 10 nautical miles now to Macharan. So we'll get north of the river. We will fly slightly to the south. We'll fly west, keep the river in mind. Follow the river along. We'll take it out, and then we'll do an approach in to runway 06. So I can see the river ahead. Airport in sight. So airport is pretty much 12 o'clock, slightly 11 o'clock off the wind. So we'll follow the river down, follow the river to the southwest, and then we'll swing around and come into runway 06. So this is the town of Macharan. Not very much jungle anymore, is it, guys? So there we are, we're above the runway, so take that off. Let's go back in there. take that off. We're going to take this out now, down to the southwest. Let's get some lead off some of that speed. And trim her for descent. So we don't go down too crazy. And then we want to make sure we're coming in on, so let's change that, so 060, roll wheel problems, 060, and then we'll make sure we've got the heading of level 2. The course, make sure that I get on course. Drop the descent a little bit more now. And then the road pretty much goes all the way back in. So we'll come out over this town. The airport elevation is not very high. $488, so elevation. 271. Right. So let's turn around over this now. Pull the manifold pressure back. Make sure my mixture's coming round. So gears down, tanks are even. Coming into the flap range, get that first notch down. Going a little bit. A little bit higher, I think. A little bit of time to get down. Yeah, good. Plenty. So, mixture to full now. Get it all lined up. So we detoured, we should have, so they originally landed at Carapito, which was the town before this one, but there's no airfield there anymore. So, and this is where the 80th anniversary flight landed as well. So get the RPM up. So now bring it down. Work with the runway. A little bit of a crosswind. trying to get my aiming point up. Yeah, it's a bit windy close to the ground, guys. Bit high, windy. Let's try to adjust for the wind. Try to aim for the 1,000 feet mark, but I'm not going to do that. Plenty of runway, so we need to just watch for that crosswind. Okay. Bit of a float and a stall down. Oh, and we're down. Eek! Try to keep it on. That's a cat bat. A Steve Solo. And relax. Get off the runway before everyone else crashes into the enemy. Little bit of a wobble on the end there. Been not quite enough power. So should have had a little bit more power on the so a quick debrief for myself. Little bit high, little bit not enough power in. But we landed. Probably a bit too high for the stall, but the float was okay. So let's see if we've got coming in. So we've got Papa Joe B, Splasher 6 is coming in now. Nicely done, guys. Oh, nice. Look at that. Perfect. There's Sim Aviation Erling Hundi coming in now. One of my fighter escorts. Goblin Zeus is in. Well done, guys. Nice. I must get that bloody drone camera working. Here comes Draco, one of my other fighter escorts. A little bit of a bounce. You got this, Draco. Dangerous Brian. Inbound. With Papa Joe B just slightly ahead. Rogers RC. Firefly's making it look easier. Much easier than I did it. I cut away before it went too bad, Draco. I saved your senses. Welcome, Stairway to Bacon. It's been with me the entire journey. Welcome to Venezuela. Razor Cab has landed. Everyone's welcome, Rad Pilot Randu. You know, I've got a long way to go, so anyone that's coming wants to join in at any time, you know, even if it's for like 30 minutes or an hour, you know, join in, drop out, whatever you like to do. And we've got Kazaki Flyer still. Dangerous Brian's down, sporting the two-tone Murphy Mooney livery. Stairway to Bacon, Captain. I missed Captain Arish. You must have been disappeared off my screen, but Captain Arish is down, Floydrix is down, Steve Solo's down. Nicely done, guys. I will make sure I've got screenshots of you all on the ground, and I will be posting them up over on the journey. And we have Kazaki Flyer coming in. So much for jungles, eh, guys? Oh, nice. Here's Kazaki. Welcome to Venezuela. And he's down. Look at that, smooth as butter. Can't actually see all the spits because oh, I see you're all over there. Don't see them spits sadly, but I will try turning off the generic models next week. Well, here we are, we've made it. That's another leg down. And thank you all so very much for flying. Before we finish, we'll have a quick look at the arrival that greeted Amelia. So this is Amelia being helped out of the aircraft at Carapito back on the 2nd of June 1937. And there's a member of the oil company, the Standard Oil Company, waiting to meet her, and children around. And she looks pretty delighted to have been arriving in South America, and I'm pretty delighted too to have had you all join me on this this stream on a Saturday afternoon, taking us on our 6th leg of the Amelia Earhart journey from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Macharan, Venezuela. Next week we'll fly from Macharan to Paramaribo, which is about a 500 nautical mile journey, and then it sets up a journey to Natal. So if you can join me next week, I would be delighted to have you along with me. If you can't join us, you can watch the streams afterwards, but thank you all so much for joining. I can't begin to say how happy I am for everyone to come along. Captain Arash, thank you so much for your raid and your kind subscription and bringing people over. Guys, if you can see and take some time to watch Captain Arash, please go over and see him. CDL, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you coming and your kind subscription. Annalisa, Catbat for being legends. Have a great Saturday, guys, and we will catch you in South America next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Catch you on streams during the weekend and next week. Take care. Thank you so much.